Howdy, Brian.
Howdy.
I'm not even sure. I was trying to sound Texas. That was not Texas.
No.
That was not Texas. Forgive me. So anyway, we're going to be doing CanJam Dallas 2025 very, very soon.
Yes.
This is our third annual CanJam Dallas. I'm so excited to end the 2025 CanJam season in Dallas again.
Yeah, it's a fantastic city.
This has also been a fantastic CanJam season.
It has.
Like incredible.
Yeah.
And this is a great way to end it.
It is.
So we have an amazing community in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a lot of people come from all over the place to CanJam Dallas. It's going to be a great show. Let's tell them when it is.
Yeah, so CanJam Dallas 2025 is happening November 8th and 9th. We are once again returning to the Dallas Addison Marriott Quorum by the Galleria. And this year's show is sponsored by Sennheiser and Technics. So thank you so much to both Sennheiser and Technics because you guys helped make CanJam Dallas possible. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't wait to get back to Texas.
I can't wait to get back to Texas, and we have a lot of gear to go over.
We do.
So let's get right to it. But I want you all to know we appreciate you.
CanJam wouldn't be complete without incredible, thought-provoking talks, panels, and technical deep dives, and this year's CanJam Dallas seminar lineup is no exception. This year, we have a total of 6 seminar sessions from 8 industry experts and insiders during the weekend. These seminars cover a number of topics ranging from new technologies, to preference curves in scientific research, to a look at how the hobby has evolved over time. Each of these seminars will take place in the Mesquite 2 room, located just around the corner from the main CanJam exhibit hall. Get a pen and paper ready, because you'll definitely want to reserve time for the following seminars at CanJam Dallas 2025. Our Saturday seminar schedule kicks off on November 8th at noon, when industry icon Dr. Sean Olive of Sean Olive Audio Consulting will be presenting a talk titled A Preferred Headphone Target Curve Defined for the Brüel & Kjær 5128 and Gross 45 CA10 Test Fixtures. The Harman around ear and on ear headphone target, defined using the Gross 45 CA test fixture with an RA045 ear simulator and custom pinna, is often misused with other fixtures, leading to measurement and interpretation errors due to differing acoustic transfer impedances. Dr. Olive has compared several headphones on the original fixture and 2 newer models, specifying calibration and target curves for each to improve accuracy. Listening tests assessed how similarly headphones sounded when measured and equalized on all 3 fixtures using these revised targets. Next up, join Mark Ryan Salee, best known as Super Review, for a seminar he's calling Join the Anti-Squig Squig Club at 2 p.m. Sound quality is frequency response, and if you're not already using frequency response measurements, aka squigs, as a primary guide for navigating the headphones hobby, you are likely missing the plot. In this interactive session, you'll experience the massive impact that frequency response has on sound quality. You'll also get a crash course in using squigs to improve your listening satisfaction no matter what type of sound you prefer. If you're skeptical about the value of squigs, Mark wants to change your mind. You'll even get a free earphone if he does. Closing out our Saturday seminars, come join our panel of experts for a discussion on the State of the Hobby 2025 at 4 p.m. Panelists include Jude Mansilla, founder of HeadFi.org, Jim Moulton, co-founder of Noble Audio, Zach Merbach, founder of ZMFheadphones, and Jason Stoddard, co-founder of Schiit Audio. This panel will be moderated by Warren G. Things can change in the blink of an eye, so imagine how much our hobby has grown and evolved in the past decade. Join our all-star panel of industry experts as they recount the history of the hobby, brief us on its current state, and explore what's to come in the future. Be sure to bring all of your questions to get them answered here. If you're relatively new to our hobby, be sure not to miss these fascinating insights. On Sunday, November 9th, Dr. Sean Olive returns to the stage once again for a presentation titled Beyond THD, Measuring Headphone Distortion the Way We Hear It, starting at 12 p.m. Nonlinear distortion in headphones is notoriously tricky to measure and even harder to relate to what listeners actually hear. Distortion levels and their audibility shift with input level, signal spectrum and timing, and the masking quirks of human hearing. The go-to metric, total harmonic distortion, tells us little about either audibility or how good a headphone sounds. Since 2004, perceptual-based distortion metrics have been developed that reliably predict listener ratings for distortion added to music and speech. Yet the industry remains stuck in audio's circle of confusion, relying on incomplete or misleading measurements. This talk cuts through the noise, reviewing the science of distortion perception, the tools that work, and the path toward measurements that truly reflect what we hear. After a short break, Michelangelo Matoli, artistic manager at Audma, will be giving us all a deep dive into the soundstage of loudspeakers in your headphones, a journey with the Elisa circuit at 2 p.m. Is it possible to experience the spacious soundstage of a stereo system through headphones? Elisa was born as the answer to this question. Grounded in scientific approach, the electronic ELISA circuit processes the stereo signal to restore spatial naturalness, timbral coherence, and directional accuracy. By bridging psychoacoustic perception and engineering elegance, it places instruments and voices in front of the listener, offering a new soundstage like never heard before. Closing out our CanJam Dallas 2025 seminar schedule, come hear about Sound Without Compromise, the physics of the Dynaberg C2S driver at 3 p.m. This seminar will be presented by Simon Dynaberg, founder of Dynaberg Technology. Discover how Dynaberg's patented C2S, concentric coplanar stabilizer technology, is redefining headphone design by transforming wasted backwave energy into usable acoustic output. This breakthrough architecture delivers lower distortion, superior phase linearity, and deep tactile bass, enabling clearer vocals, simpler ANC and DSP integration, and true subwoofer-level immersion. Join Simon to explore the science behind C2S, its scalability across audio products, and how it empowers the next generation of sound innovation. Again, each of these seminars will be taking place in the Mesquite 2 room located just around the corner from the main CanJam Dallas exhibit area. Seating will be limited and many of these seminars will fill quickly, so be sure to get there a little early to grab the perfect seat. We can't wait to see you there. Sennheiser will be joining us at CanJam Dallas this year, and they're also one of our CanJam Dallas event sponsors, so thank you Sennheiser for helping make CanJam Dallas possible. Now, let's take a look at what Sennheiser will have for you to audition at CanJam Dallas 2025.
With the Momentum True Wireless, the in-ears from Sennheiser, especially version 3 and 4, I feel like Sennheiser was showing they were very serious about Bluetooth.
Right.
With this headphone, though, this Bluetooth headphone, I feel like they've doubled down. Like they are showing they are dead serious about Bluetooth as an audiophile option.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the Sennheiser HDB 630. That name means something because it effectively says they consider this in the HD 600 family of headphones. That's how I'm interpreting it anyway. And I think that's a sacred family of headphones. It means something that they did that. So the name, as I see it, is HD Bluetooth 630, HDB 630. Let's talk about what it is. It's a closed-back wireless headphone. On each side, there's a 42-millimeter dynamic driver. It has adaptive noise cancellation, which is quite effective. Parametric equalizer via the Smart Control Plus app. I don't want to just brush over that. We'll get back to that. Wired or wireless playback. So there's an analog cable. It's a 1.2-meter cable, 3.5-millimeter terminated. Then there's digital cable via 1.2-meter USB-C to USB-C cable. And then it also includes the Sennheiser BTD 700 USB-C dongle, which I love. So I'm an iPhone user. I don't get aptX natively. The BTD 700, which is tiny, plugs right into that. My iPhone has aptX. All right, wireless codecs supported, SBC, AAC, aptX, aptX HD, aptX adaptive. Love all that. Up to 60 hours runtime, so the battery is robust. 24-bit 96 kilohertz. Okay. When you use the USB-C cable, wired, it's essentially a USB-C, or I mean a USB DAC headphone.
Yeah, but that also applies to the USB dongle as well.
Yes, the BTD 700 gives you up to 2496 resolution. It weighs 311 grams, so it's quite light, and it's very, very comfortable.
It is.
$499.95, $500, premium priced.
It is, but it's worth it.
I think it's completely worth it. Comes with a nice traveling case, by the way. Carrying case. Here's what they say about the sound. Sennheiser says this. The HDB 630's tuning is all about balance. Fast and extended bass, clear lifelike mids, and controlled treble. It keeps the music feeling open and natural. I think that's very fair marketing copy.
It is.
I agree with it, is what I'm saying. All right. Now, we have our notes as well that say excellent voice quality.
Oh, yeah. That's phenomenal voice quality on that.
Yeah. So I don't know how many of you guys care about this. I'm on the phone a ton. We do Zoom calls a lot. Outgoing voice quality to us is a huge deal.
Yes.
And a lot of Bluetooth headphones have really crappy outgoing voice quality. This has exceptional outgoing voice quality. Actually, one of my high standards for outgoing voice quality is a 15-year-old, it's a little a Bluetooth earpiece that Sennheiser made like 15 years ago. I have 3 of them. I still use them all the time. Has fantastic outgoing voice quality. This is pretty close to those. I think that's a big deal. All right, let's get back to that parametric equalizer. That is so important.
It is.
Back, if you remember the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless, their very first app that they did for that, the control app, had a really weird...
It had that strange dot thing.
Yeah, a weird EQ interface.
Yeah.
This one is like worlds better.
Oh yeah,
It's serious.
it is.
And you have the parametric EQ option, so you can tune it so finitely to taste.
Yeah, I want to mention though, anybody who doesn't want to go into the full parametric EQ mode, there's also a fixed band EQ, so you still have some control over individual bands. And if you want to go even simpler, they have presets too.
Okay,
that's a huge benefit to anybody who doesn't really want to go into the depths of EQ.
But in the HEDD-Fi realm, I know a lot of people are going to want to go into that parametric EQ.
Oh yeah,
and really tune it up. I love the default signature though.
Yeah, I do too.
They show a frequency response, Sennheiser does, versus the Momentum 4 Bluetooth headphone. And it shows more controlled bass. I hear that. It shows more refinement through the upper mids and treble. I also hear that. I love its signature.
Yeah.
It's a beautifully done default signature. But you can use that parametric EQ to tune it.
Yeah, like give it a little more treble.
which I know you will do.
Yeah.
But so to me, this is a very important headphone. I love that Sennheiser is supporting it so thoroughly on HEDD-Fi's thread. There's a forum thread about the HDB 630. Eric Palanin from Sennheiser provides so much incredible information and help and support in there. And I love that they're doing that because it's an important headphone for Sennheiser.
Right.
I think it's going to be a huge star at CanJam, which we don't say about too many over-ear Bluetooth headphones, but this one's going to be that. So do not miss the Sennheiser HDB 630 at CanJam. So these two Sennheiser headphones have taken the community by storm.
Right.
You're holding the Sennheiser HD505. I'm holding the Sennheiser HD550. They were released pretty close to each other, first with the 505, then shortly thereafter the 550. I can see why everybody wants to talk about these, why everybody wants to hear these, because they are, by modern standards of neutrality, probably the most neutral headphones Sennheiser's ever released.
Yeah, probably.
And what I mean is, like, even in the context of the Sennheiser, I think it was the 505s, the HD 505s, they even mentioned, I think, the Harman research, the Harman target.
Yeah.
So you see kind of where they're going. So they have a lot of similarities. Let's talk about what they have in common. So they're both obviously Sennheiser HD 500 series headphones. They're both open back designs, both have metal mesh ear cup covers, both use synthetic velour ear pads, both weigh 237 grams.
Yep.
So again, a lot of similarities. Come similarly packaged as well. Differences though. Price, the HD 505 copper you're holding, $280. The HD 550s I'm holding, $300. Nominal impedance, HD 505s, 120 ohms. These, 150 ohms. All right, now let's talk about the sound. The sound is more, they sound more alike than not, but I find the 550 to be more to my liking. They are both very neutral.
Right.
Both have very extended bass for open backs, but not emphasized bass. But the 550s have a little more bass presence and a little more mid-richness. But when you hear them with some music that doesn't necessarily draw on those differences as much, they sound so much alike.
Yeah.
But when the differences arise, my preference is clearly for the 550. And I think that more people will prefer the 550.
Probably.
Both will be used, I think, very commonly in professional settings eventually, I think.
Yeah.
And then it'll come down to splitting hairs between what the engineer prefers. I still think most will choose the 550. But so to look at the differences, we haven't measured them yet. And I don't like to review measurements, but since Sennheiser put out measurements from their own labs for both models, I thought it would be interesting to do a comparison, so let's put them on the screen. You'll see the HD 550 has a little less upper mid, lower treble energy than the 505, and a little more bass. And you'll also notice that both have, again, excellent bass extension for open back headphones.
Right.
And sometimes when you reduce that upper mid, lower treble energy, it can result in a richer sounding mid-band, and that's the case here. And I think that just that little bit of bass advantage that the 550 has, advantage in my direction anyway, combined with that lower upper mid, lower treble energy makes it meaningfully better for me. And I think a lot of people will agree. So I compared it also, the HD 550 to the HD 660 S2, because that's another fairly recent Sennheiser open back headphone that I really, really love.
Yeah.
And I also find neutral in a different way. It's neutral in an HD 600 family way.
Yes.
But not necessarily in a Harman way. I'm torn between, but I think what a lot of people are looking for is this kind of neutrality. This seems to be of greatest interest to those in the community these days. And for that reason, I think people are going to be seeking these out. I think they're going to become classic models over time.
Yep.
time loves a hero, as Little Feat says. But I think with time, these will become classics, especially the 550. And so at CanJam, check out what I think are the most neutral headphones in a modern sense that Sennheiser's ever made, maybe, and what I think are destined to be classics. You are holding a headphone that I have, in a way, been waiting years for.
Right.
And I'll explain that in a minute. So that is the headphone, that's HEDD phone D1 by HEDD, HEDD. Now, you guys know HEDD from Germany, from Berlin, for making AMT drivers, air motion transformer drivers, which this does not use.
Right.
And this is what I've been waiting years for. Let me get to it. So first of all, the headphone D1 is an open back dynamic headphone co-developed with composite sound from Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
I have known about this material, this thin ply carbon, for years. I've been waiting for it to be used in a headphone application for years.
Right.
The headphone D1 is the first to do it, and I'm so there for it. So this is the world's first dynamic headphone to feature a thin ply carbon diaphragm. Thin ply carbon is an advanced composite used in the most demanding fields, from Formula One racing to NASA's Mars helicopter. So on that Mars helicopter that they're talking about, I think it's a drone that comes off the rover.
I believe so.
And the atmosphere in Mars is so thin that the propeller on this helicopter has to spin at incredibly high rates of speed to get lift.
Mm-hmm.
And it uses, for that propeller material, a thin ply carbon like this. In headphone design, it becomes something entirely new, they say, a diaphragm that controls resonances structurally, eliminating the need for traditional damping at the diaphragm level. The result is faster, cleaner, and more accurate motion across the audible spectrum. And based on my discussions with the makers of this thin ply carbon, I've expected that maybe this would be a driver that would be fast sounding and resolving.
Right.
I haven't been disappointed. All right. So they say where dynamic drivers have long been defined by trade-offs, bass versus treble, weight versus stability, the D1 removes those compromises. The D1, that headphone, they say, delivers reference precision, natural balance, and long-term comfort in a headphone that feels as innovative as it sounds. We're going to get to the sound in a minute. 32 ohm impedance, 100 dB sensitivity, 350 grams, so reasonably light.
Yeah.
Perforated velour ear pads, textile-covered premium cable, includes that carrying case, a nice carrying case. 5-year warranty. Price, $799.
And that surprised me because I found out the price after hearing this.
Yes, $799, 699 euros, or 599 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now let's talk about the sound. I first heard those at CanJam SoCal 2025 in a kind of a sneak preview behind the scenes.
Right.
And I was hoping, so this is the diaphragm, impossibly light. And then this is the driver that would be inside there that uses that diaphragm. I was hoping that it would be, and kind of had the impression that the driver using the thin ply carbon would probably be fast and resolving.
Right.
Holy moly, that is a fast resolving sounding driver.
Yeah, it is.
So the D1 to me is tuned what I would call perceived neutral.
Mm-hmm.
You like more neutral headphones.
I do.
And I was guessing that one might be right down the middle of your preference range.
It is. This is actually one of those headphones, when you think about how many we get through HeadFi HQ, not every single one of them is going to give you that kind of goosebump feeling. I think it was my second test track. I'm listening, and this just went right down my spine. It's like, oh, that's good.
I knew you'd love these. And I also enjoy them thoroughly.
Yeah.
Now, for me, of course, because I would call the bass level as perceived flat bass, which is kind of what you like.
Yes.
I don't mind EQing a little more bass into them, but still enjoy listening to them even in their default signature. These are like studio monitor, open back studio monitor headphones. HEDD has a lot of experience in pro audio.
Yeah, they do.
I feel like it's coming through with this headphone. It is, to my ears, incredibly resolving.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think these are going to be a huge hit at CanJam.
Yes.
I've been waiting, like I said, years for a headphone to use the thin ply carbon drivers, and I have not been disappointed. Make sure at CanJam to check out the HEDD headphone D1 using thin ply carbon drivers. Phenomenal. This is the Grado Labs signature HP100 SE. I love this headphone. It's going to be at CanJam. I'm going to get back to this headphone in a second. I first want to talk really quickly about the long history with Grado Labs and HeadFi.org.
Right.
So if you haven't been around HeadFi for a zillion years, you might not even know about this. But in the earliest years of HeadFi, we started it back in 2001. I was running it just as a hobby of mine. And there's a whole history there that one day maybe we'll do a video about. I think it's interesting, but I'm biased. But anyway, in those earliest years, I was running it just as a hobby for me. And that means I was running it poorly as a business. It was losing money. And I think Todd Green from Todd the Vinyl Junkie must have told John Grado, and they came up with this idea of coming up with a Grado Labs HEDFI commemorative headphone to help support us. It was called the Grado HEDFI 1 or HF1. And through the sales of that, they did help us push through. And they subsequently came out with 2 other models, the HF2 and the HF3. And in those earliest years, Grado helped push us through. So that's pretty cool, and I'm always grateful for that. Now, as a personal audiophile, just an audiophile who enjoyed headphones, I also have a history with Grado Labs just on that front. So my first audiophile headphone was the Sony MDR V6, but then not long after, I picked up a Grado SR60, then the SR80, several other Grado models, and then I found a used Grado HP1. Now, if you haven't been around this hobby for a long time, you might not even have heard of the Grado HP1. Look it up. It was a legendary headphone. And it was from the Joseph Grado era. And I enjoyed that headphone thoroughly. I found a mint condition one, and like a fool, I sold it. I sold it to Uncle Wilson from Jabin. I hope you still have that, Uncle Wilson. I do regret selling it. But this headphone, the signature HP100 SE, I believe is kind of an ode to that Grado HP1 model.
It is.
And I love it. So let's talk about what it is first, then I'll talk about why I love it. So the signature HP100 SE is a Grado flagship headphone. On each side, it uses one 52mm dynamic driver, and it's an all-new driver design that uses a new paper composite cone. It also has high-flux magnetic circuit using rare earth alloys and a lightweight copper-plated aluminum coil, and the drivers are matched to 0.04 dB. Now, they say Grado's goal was to deliver a speaker that produced excellent high-frequency resolution, mid-range smoothness, and bass energy with low distortion. It uses hand-machined aluminum housings, which I think are gorgeous, this low-profile aluminum housing.
They are.
It does remind me a little bit of the old Grado HP1. It has a leather headband, a detachable 12-conductor cable, 6-foot cable, 4-pin mini XLR connection on the ear side, which I love that it's detachable. Not something that we typically think of with Grado Labs headphones.
No.
By default, 6.35mm termination, but you can also get 4-pin XLR and 4.4mm terminations as well. I use the 4.4mm myself. It comes with Grado's G plus F cushions.
Right.
So that means it comes with the bowl, the big bowl pad, which I think is the G.
Yes.
And then the F, the small flat cushion. And it's hand-assembled in Brooklyn, New York, $2,495, $2,495. All right. I need to point something out, though. I heard these at CanJam SoCal 2025 for the first time. Now, despite the history we have with Grado Labs and headfi.org, I haven't really talked that much about Grado Labs headphones over the last many years. And part of the reason is I think a lot of the latest generation of Grado headphones, for my tastes, were on the bright side.
Sure.
Now, I heard these with the pads I'm showing here, which are called the Grado B cushion pads. These are pads that they released with the signature S750 model.
Yes.
And they are now available as a separate accessory. Buy them. So with the bowls, I guess that would be the G.
Yeah.
I find these to be bright.
They are a bit to me too.
Yes. Kind of bright and thinner for my tastes.
Yeah.
With the B cushions, to me, I think they're phenomenal. I heard this at CanJam SoCal 2025, and I was just floored at how much I enjoyed them. Beautiful bass and richness for an open back headphone, and these are open, really open. And the mids are clean. The highs are not bright. I mean, I've put every sibilance test track through these. Never offends.
Yeah.
Love the balance. Love the imaging. These, to me, I haven't heard the HP1 in a long time because Uncle Wilson has them. I haven't heard them in a long time. But do these make me think, or do they remind me of that HP1? Yeah, I think so. And I love these headphones. So make sure at CanJam, you check out the flagship Grado Labs signature HP100 SE, a beautifully balanced headphone, especially for my tastes, with the B cushion. And I think you will understand why I'm so thrilled to have a Grado flagship that I'm this excited about again for the first time in a very long time. Now, the signature HP100 SE is the flagship of Grado Labs, but it's actually one of 3 models in their signature series.
Right.
And you're holding the latest model. We'll get to that in a second. May I start with this one, please?
Sure.
So this is the Grado Labs signature S950. It's $2,195, so it's a little less expensive than the HP100 SE. It uses the same drivers, actually, as the HP100 SE, the 52mm dynamic drivers, and they're matched on this headphone to 0.4 dB. The cups are a Brazilian walnut wood, and I think they're lovely.
It's a very pretty wood.
It's a very pretty wood. So versus the aluminum of the HP100 SE, these are Brazilian walnut wood. Now, they have a leather-wrapped stainless steel headband that I believe is the same headband as on the HP100 SE. I don't think I specifically mentioned that when I talked about the HP100 SE. But I think the fixtures are essentially the same, other than the cups. Aluminum alloy gimbal, stainless steel rod, zinc alloy caps. Grado Gold detachable cable, 6.35 millimeter termination by default, but optionally you can get 4-pin XLR and 4.4 millimeter as well,
right,
separately. It comes with Grado's G plus F cushions included, like the HP100 SE. As I mentioned, though, already, when I talked about that headphone, the B cushions are where it's at.
Yep.
As far as I'm concerned, for my tastes, they're the only cushions to get, the B cushions. So those, I think you'll have to get separately for now. And they say, is this their comments about it?
It is.
So they say the signature S950 has a more neutral and balanced sound, providing a broad brushstroke to the musical presentation. I don't know if they mean versus the HP100 SE. If they do, that's not how I hear it. To me, these definitely sound, I mean, they're unquestionably related when you hear them.
Mm-hmm.
But what I hear with these is the edges are just a little bit more rounded. Those are more incisive. The HP100 SE is a bit more incisive. If I had to pick between the two, for my tastes, I'm taking the HP100 SE. That said, I still love these, and I think it's going to come down to taste.
Right.
I would say it's a pretty similar sound signature, but again, I'm hearing kind of more rounded edges with these, but still very resolving. I think some people are going to prefer that. At CanJam, make sure to compare the HP100 SE and the S950. And if you're at the show and you see me, I'd like to know which one you prefer.
Now, as you said earlier, this is the newest addition to the Signature Series headphone family. It is the Grado Labs Signature S750. Now, this has a couple of differences compared to its siblings. So one of the biggest differences you're going to notice immediately is the new driver. This features Grado Labs' new S2 driver. That's a 50 millimeter driver. It has a carbon fiber and paper composite diaphragm paired with a lightweight copper-plated aluminum voice coil, and the drivers on this are matched to 0.5 dB. It comes with a all aluminum construction chassis. It's actually a beautiful chassis. I love the kind of almost all black colorway with the pop of the Grado logo. It looks quite nice.
I dig it too.
It also has a leather wrapped headband, but you'll notice compared to the other two models that the headband on this is a little shorter, a little narrower.
Yeah.
So from my listening, I found that I didn't have any comfort issues with this, but I did find the wider headband a little more comfortable on my head.
I agree.
It also features the aluminum alloy gimbals and stainless steel rods, like the other two models. This also comes with Grado's Gold detachable cable. Again, standard 6.35 millimeter, 4.4 and 4-pin XLR available optionally. This one comes in at 460 grams. So compared to that HP100 SE, it's about maybe 10% lighter. And then this comes in the box with Grado's B cushions. Now, you don't get the G or the F cushions included, but in our opinion, that's how it should be spec'd anyway, so that's the way to get it.
I agree. Like I've said a few times now, the B cushion's the only way to go with these signature headphones. And that's the first headphone to come with them.
Yeah, it launched with these.
It launched with those. Yeah. So the B cushion's the way to go. Now, as far as the sound signature goes, it sounds like a Signature Series headphone from Grado Labs.
Right.
Compared to the HP100 SE, it has, like the HP100 SE, fantastic articulation and detail. I feel like it's a bit more organically presented with the HP100 SE, but the most noticeable difference to me is that has a more near-field presentation. I feel like things are more intimately presented.
I get you, yeah.
Whereas with the HP100 SE, I'm hearing kind of a bigger sound, like a bigger presentation. So, that said, it's also a lot less expensive.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's $1,695.
Yeah, that's a pretty big savings over the HP100 SE.
If you can't make the wallet stretch to the HP100 SE, that's a beautiful option. But for me personally, that flagship is the flagship for a reason. Now, at CanJam, make sure to check out all of the Signature Series models that we've been talking about here. Try the different pads. I think you're all going to arrive at the B cushion as well.
Probably.
But yes, these are all wonderful choices, and I'm so excited to be excited again about Grado Labs. Well, Brian, it's the year 2015, and this new company from Romania, Meze Audio, just released these, the 99 Classics, and I'm so excited about these.
Oh, I am too.
And we're also joking, obviously. It's not the year 2015. But you're probably wondering why I'm holding a 10-year-old pair of headphones these days, but I'm not. These are not 10 years old. These are the Meze Audio 99 Classics V2.
Right.
This is a new headphone. I know it doesn't look like a new headphone, but this is a new headphone. I actually love that they look like the 99 Classics so faithfully.
Yeah, so do I.
But they're new. Let's talk about what they are. So again, the 99 Classics V2 will be at CanJam. It's to celebrate 10 years of Meze Audio's 99 Classics. And when that headphone came out in 2015, there was nothing else like them.
No.
In terms of styling, in terms of build quality for the price, And in terms of the sound, they were good. They were good for the time back in 2015. I would call it a more consumer-friendly V-shaped kind of tuning, but they were good for the time.
Yeah.
Now, Meze Audio has come a long way in the time since. They've released flagship headphones and done so beautifully. Their audio engineering capabilities are much, much greater now.
Right.
I mean, they make some of my favorite headphones, period. And these reflect that experience. So let's talk about them. It's a new tuning, but it's really a new headphone as far as I'm concerned. It's a balanced, neutral sound with the V2 versus the original's warm V-shaped tuning. It has improved acoustic ceiling, a new baffle design, new bass port, increased ear cup volume, which I really love, new ear pad mounting mechanism. So the new one is a buckle and clip mounting mechanism versus the original stretch mounting.
Yeah, I hate stretch mounts.
I am not a fan of that either.
Yeah.
But this new buckle and clip mounting system, I can change the pads in a minute.
Right.
If not less. Larger input sockets for the cables, so more compatibility with third-party cables.
And that's a nice touch.
Yeah, in our world, that means something. A lot of our people love to cable roll. But the stock cable is also a new cable. It's a 1.8 meter cable. I think the original came with two cables, a 1.2 and a 3 meter cable.
Right.
This comes with one cable, a 1.8 meter cable. It does use, like the original, a Kevlar-covered oxygen-free copper cable.
Yes.
It's 3.5 millimeter termination, but it comes with a 6.35 millimeter adapter. But I also need to mention that it also comes with a USB-C DAC amp.
They've done that with a couple of different headphone models and in-ears, and I so appreciate it.
I so appreciate it as well. Now let's talk about the sound, because again, it's just so much better than the original 99 Classics.
Oh yeah.
Again, this is their years of experience put into this, and it is so good. It's a balanced, neutral sound, is how they describe it, and you and I both think that's a fair characterization.
It is.
Now, I want to say that we have actually two available signatures with it, because it comes with these acoustic dampers, these acoustic absorbers, and these are quite dense.
They are.
Almost kind of like a memory foam, because when you squeeze them, they kind of stay down for a bit. And here's what Meze says they do. So they say these foam discs act as acoustic absorbers, giving your headphones a warmer, laid-back sound reminiscent of the original Meze Audio 99 Classics.
Okay.
Okay, I can see why they say reminiscent of.
Right.
But these are still, even with these, actually I prefer them with these, you don't.
Right.
I think when you hear them, you won't mistake them for the original 99 Classics. They're just, again, so much better. They reduce brightness and enhance bass presence, these absorbers. So for you prefer them without.
Yeah.
I actually prefer them with. And so make sure, because they're so easy to put in, literally it's like a minute, if even, to get them in.
Right.
And at CanJam, make sure to audition both tunings.
Yes.
Brian prefers it without, I prefer it with. But in either configuration, they're just so much better than the original 99 Classics.
Yeah.
But with all the charm, romance, and beauty of the original 99 Classics. An absolute can't miss at CanJam. This is the Meze Audio 105 Silva. I first encountered these at High-End Munich, or Munich High-End. I always say Munich High-End. Munich High-End 2025. And I immediately fell for these.
Right.
Wonderful pair of headphones. Now, let's talk about what they are. They are dynamic headphones. They, on each side, there's a 50 millimeter dynamic driver with titanium-coated semi-crystalline polymer Taurus. That's the surround, I believe. It has a copper zinc stabilizer, which Meze says adds rigidity and strength for a fast transient response and pleasantly textured bass with minimal distortion. The ear cups are made of walnut wood and high-strength polymer, and they're gorgeous, in my opinion.
Right.
I don't think Meze's ever made anything that I haven't loved the design of. To me, they're like headphone sculptors.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time dedicated to the aesthetics, and it pays off.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
But also comfort, thankfully.
Yes.
And that brings me to the self-adjusting spring steel headband, which is the same one as on the 105 IR. But it's also a very similar headband to what they've used on all their dynamic headphones. So
Right.
I think sharp-eyed Meze Audio fans probably knew right away this was a dynamic headphone from its design.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about the sound. So Meze Audio says the 105 Silva includes the technicalities of 109 Pro combined with the warmth and genre versatility of the 105 IR. They further say that the 105 Silva specializes in mid-range presentation for vocals and strings, meaning listeners can enjoy the liveliness and impact of any music without sacrificing the micro details present in well-recorded tracks.
Yeah, those definitely apply.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think these are very fair descriptions. So they mentioned the 109.
Yeah.
I really like the 109. I will say, however, you love the 109.
That's my favorite.
Of their dynamic headphones, that's your favorite.
Yep.
For me, I enjoy it, but it is probably right up there at my limits, maybe even past my limits in terms of treble energy,
Right.
brightness. This is still sparkly without going there.
Yeah.
It's more in my wheelhouse. Now, they mentioned the 105 IR. That's a polite, like fatigue-free, easy to listen to headphone.
Yeah, that's getting a lot of buzz too.
It is. It is. But for anybody that just wants some more sparkle, 105 Silva. They're getting so good with their dynamic driver products. I mean, there's the Alba, the IEMs, super values at the price. I frankly think they're the best IEMs they make, and they're their least expensive IEMs that they've released. These are $499.
Yep.
Or 499 euros or 499 pounds.
Yeah.
So they are, for what they offer, like the Alba, but with dynamic headphones, an incredible value.
Yes.
So at CanJam, make sure to check out the Meze Audio 105 Silva. I will say, of their dynamic headphones currently, these are my favorites. This is the ZMFheadphones Ori 3.0. The 3.0 suggests there are Oris before it. I have never heard a ZMF Ori before this one.
Right.
So as I understand it, you have a little bit of background on it that I actually don't have. So please, Brian, tell us a story.
There's actually a lot of history, but Zach was gracious enough to give me a condensed version so I can relay it here quickly in the video. So Zach says, the very first Ori began life in 2015 as the ZMF Omni, a modded Fostex T50RP Mark II. A trademark cease and desist forced a rename, so HeadFi's HIFIMAN voted and the name Ori won the poll. Fast forward 10 years, and in true ZMF fashion, we're dubbing this second revision Ori 3.0. And he goes on to say, because maths are hard and nostalgia is fun, and I love that line. That's just so classic Zach right there.
Yeah, that is Zach, right?
Yeah.
And I love that because, so this is the second Ori.
It is, but they're having a little bit of fun with the name, yeah.
How do I not remember any of that history that you just described? But anyway, I don't. And so this is the second one.
Yes.
But they're being smart, Alex.
Yeah.
And they're calling it 3.0. All right, let's talk about what it is. I want to clarify something, though, because the reference to going back to this original Ori, they say it's a Fostex T50RP derived headphone.
Right.
This is not.
No, there's no hardware that's come from the original Ori. This is a spiritual successor.
Gotcha. Yeah. So this is an independently developed, fully modern planar magnetic driver developed by ZMF.
Yes.
Let's talk about what is inside. So it is a closed back planar magnetic headphone. On each side, there's an 80 millimeter planar magnetic driver with a 6 micron capped on film. And ZMF says Ori 3.0's 6 micron diaphragm is around 3x thicker, so 3 times thicker than the 2 micron film in the Caldera, giving bigger macrodynamic slam while staying nimble. We'll talk about that sound in a minute. They say it has a fiberglass substrate driver baffle that's independent of the aluminum magnesium chassis. I should mention then that this is the aluminum chassis, but there is a magnesium upgrade option.
Right.
There's an optimized internal air. There are optimized internal airflow slots. And then I'm looking at a word that I do not recognize at all. Torrefied black limba hardwood cups.
I don't think I've ever heard that word.
Torrefied? Yeah.
Yeah.
We uneducated, Brian.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read on. They say heat treating the wood at around 220 degrees Celsius in low oxygen torrefaction drives out moisture and volatiles, boosting stiffness to weight and imparting that caramel hue.
Oh, I will say, speaking of caramel, there's like a nice caramel texture to it too. Oh, this thing is beautiful.
Yeah. Their headphones are always, this is gorgeous.
It is. Yeah.
We like torrefaction.
Yes, we do.
All right. So it also has tunable bass.
Yes.
This is very important. We're going to talk about that shortly. 2 pad options, Caldera lambskin and Caldera suede. It has the Caldera asymmetrical magnet structure, atrium damping system, 60 ohm impedance, detachable dual mini XLR cable, and it's $1,999, which I think is a big deal.
Right.
For a ZMF headphones, planar magnetic headphone. Big deal. All right, let's talk about the tunable bass because it involves port plugs.
Yeah, and I want to talk about a conversation I had with Zach. So when these first arrived, we were kind of going back and forth, and I was just getting a feel for what the plug does.
Right.
And in summary, the impression that I got from Zach was that with the plug removed, you're going to get more mid-bass along the lines of the original Ori, and with the plug in, the low end is more refined. I'm going to say based on the conversation and my listening impressions, that's accurate.
It is accurate. It's not just mid bass though to my ears. It's like bass.
It's more bass.
Yeah, it's just bass. Period. And it's noticeable. This is not like to me. It's not a subtle difference.
Right.
I think for most things, I would prefer it with the plug in. So the more refined bass.
I am 100% plug in.
Yeah, you're 100% plug in. And for me, though, I could see myself taking them out for like leaner recordings.
Yeah.
Because I have some like 80s new wave pop stuff that is lean. And I can see myself taking the plugs out for that. But I love having the option. Another description they give is macrodynamic slam with maximum mid-range liquidity and airy treble. The classic Omni Ori modernized for 2025. And given that I haven't heard that original Ori, I'm going to take their word for it, but the rest of it sounds very fair.
Yes, it is.
In terms of how to describe this. I do like what they were saying earlier about macrodynamic slam while staying nimble. Because especially when you take the plugs out.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely more impactful.
Oh, yeah.
But here's what I'm going to say. Port plugs in or port plugs out. It is a more romantic sounding headphone to my ears.
Yes.
So, for example, the Atrium, which is one of my favorite headphones of all time, is more reference romantic. This is more romantic.
Right.
But I love a rich tonality. I love the Ori 3.0. So, to me, at CanJam, this is going to be another headphone that probably will have long lines to listen to.
Yeah.
Probably helped a little bit to be long by the fact that people are going to be playing with the plugs in, plugs out.
Yep.
So longer auditions. Hopefully they have a lot of them at CanJam. So make sure to stop and listen to the ZMFheadphones Ori 3.0. Beautiful sounding headphone. And I'm going to be curious to know which you prefer. Port plugs in or port plugs out. I was just looking at the monitor before we shot this, and I didn't realize until I looked at it this way how big these headphones are.
That's true.
These are large headphones.
They are.
I'll explain why in a second, guys, because I think I can explain that. So this is the FiiO FT7. I'm going to start with my conclusion. These are the best headphones by a margin, in my opinion, that FiiO's ever made.
Oh, hands down.
So you agree?
Yeah.
These are fantastic. They're a planar magnetic headphone. And I guess the reason they're big is because they do use very large planar magnetic drivers.
Right.
So on each side, 106 millimeter full-size planar driver using gold plus silver precious metal multi-layer coating technology that's patent pending. I don't know exactly what they're patenting, but it's patent pending for improved sound quality and durability. As for the diaphragm, 1 micron ultra-thin film diaphragm.
Right.
That's very thin. It does sound very responsive, very resolving.
Yeah, it does.
Very fast. Uniform and even magnetic field design with 18 high-performance N52 neodymium magnets on each side.
And those make it a little hefty.
A little. So they're 427 grams, which
Right.
really isn't that heavy. And they're also a very large headphone.
They are.
So it distributes the weight beautifully. The headband is well designed. The comfort strap distributes it beautifully. All right. The zebra wood grill is nice.
It is beautiful.
So it has a zebra wood grill. Yeah, I find it can be kind of both old school and new.
Yeah, it can.
I mean, maybe the new school is the carbon fiber.
Definitely helps.
So there's a lot of carbon fiber on it. I think it's a lovely headphone.
Yeah.
Lambskin and suede ear pads.
Very comfortable.
Yes, that might help with that weight distribution. Liquid nitrogen frozen single crystal copper cable.
That is a nice cable.
It is a nice cable. I like the plugs on it too.
I do too.
Custom detailed linen earphone storage case.
Always nice to have a case included.
Yeah, but it's actually also a very nice case.
It is.
All right, anyway, enough with the spec read. Let's talk about sound. So these, to me, the FiiO FT7 is squarely in my range of neutrality.
100%.
I find this a very neutral sounding headphone.
Yep.
And I mean that in a good way, not a boring way. It's also exciting sounding to me.
Yeah.
Because the bass, though not emphasized, is tactile and impactful.
Yes, it is.
And now I'm just speculating. It maybe is a function of that large driver size. Maybe. The imaging is also lovely.
Yes, it is.
I find it to be big imaging. Do you agree?
I do.
And maybe that is also a function of the big diaphragm that's covering your ears. I don't know. The one thing I want to say about these is they're so neutral. I was comparing them to, the Odyssey LCDX.
Yeah.
So I love the Odyssey LCDX. It's used in a lot of studios.
Yes.
It's one of my neutral references, even though I think some people will debate its neutrality. It's probably on the smoother side of my neutral range, but I can't be that wrong. A lot of studios use it.
Yeah.
This is even more neutral. The FiiO FT7 is even more neutral.
Right.
Because it has more going on with the upper mids, like more energy in the upper mids and treble. So I find it maybe a more articulate tuning.
Yes.
But never harsh.
Right.
Also, when I turn it up loud, you should not turn it up loud, guys. Spare your hearing. But when I do turn it up loud, it never loses its composure. So I haven't measured it yet, but I'm going to guess the distortion on it is very low. They sound technically capable.
Yes.
Like very technically capable well-crafted headphones.
And it was designed by FIO.
But even then, they're still by a margin the best that FIO's made to my ears. And so at CanJam, no matter what price point you're shopping in for over-ear headphones, make sure to audition the FT7. I think they're absolutely fantastic.
Oh, they're wonderful.
This is the HIFIMAN Edition XV. And these are, in my opinion, perhaps the easiest to recommend HIFIMAN headphones because they're only $399.
Yeah.
And what they do for $399 is pretty fantastic. So let's talk about what they are. They are obviously a planar magnetic headphone. They use second generation Neo Super Nano diaphragm that are 60% of the first gen diaphragm's thickness. So they're very thin, very light, low mass, responsive diaphragm.
Right.
Enhanced magnets design using rare earth-free magnets. I would like to learn more about that rare earth-free magnet, like the materials, just because they're using them in more of their headphones. So I'm curious about it. I don't know much about that rare earth-free magnet material they're using. A new composite headband design. That's a new design with HIFIMAN. I think we're going to see this more and more. 20 to 30 gram weight reduction, rotatable hinges. Every bit of rotation in that direction, these directions help to get a good fit on one's head. 12 ohm impedance. That's pretty low impedance.
It is.
92 dB sensitivity. So reasonably sensitive, not the most sensitive headphones, but reasonably sensitive. And 452 grams reasonable weight. I find them very, very comfortable.
Right.
Frankly, all of HIFIMAN's headphones that have those ginormous egg-shaped ear cups I find quite comfortable. They distribute the weight so beautifully over a large area. $399 again. It's not even just one of the easy to recommend HIFIMAN headphones. It's one of the easiest to recommend headphones, period.
Right.
HIFIMAN, from what I can tell, seems to be moving in a direction with a lot of their headphones, their planar magnetic open headphones, of like a smoother treble, a more organic treble.
Yeah.
These are smoother still. Maybe they did that because it's $399. I mean, you have to make some compromises somewhere. But I think it was like so perfectly executed.
Yeah.
Because where the treble is, if you like bright headphones, you still might love these.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you don't like bright headphones, you're probably also going to love these. So it's such a beautiful universal type neutral signature for an open back planar magnetic headphone. Great bass extension.
Yep.
From what I can hear anyway, and impact. Again, just maybe some of the easiest over ears to recommend right now because they're $399. So the HIFIMAN Edition XV at CanJam, at that price, whether you're shopping at that price or higher, you have to give these a listen. They're just a darn good headphone with a beautiful signature that I think everybody is pretty much going to love.
Now here at HeadFi, we are no strangers to HIFIMAN's unveiled family of headphones, and this is the HIFIMAN Aria Unveiled. It is the third edition in the Unveiled series. Now this came out right around the end of 2024, and it's, in my opinion, a wonderful evolution of what many know as the Aria Organic. But let's talk about what this is. So it's the HIFIMAN Aria Unveiled. It's going to have HIFIMAN's unveiled technology quite clearly.
So let's talk about what that is real quick.
Yeah.
So you can see the back of the driver.
Yep.
And you are literally looking at the back of the driver because
straight through.
There's nothing covering it at all.
Right.
Until you're not using it, then you put on the magnetic veils to protect it.
Yeah, of course.
So as far as open back headphones go, any of the unveiled models are open back.
Very open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to explain that.
Yeah. So when you put the veil on, you're protecting a number of HIFIMAN technologies. For example, you're protecting that nanometer thickness diaphragm. You're protecting the stealth magnets. Obviously, it has the unveiled tech, which HIFIMAN says reduces harmful reflections and refractions from the body. And you can see, because it's so open, the sound has nothing to push back against.
Right, you're not going to get any back reflection.
Exactly. Yeah. It has a 27 ohm impedance. The weight is reasonably light at 413. It's not the lightest of headphones, but it is very comfortable.
It feels very light.
Of the headband, yeah.
To me, it feels very light.
I think the headband system does a great job distributing that weight.
I agree.
Cable options, you're kind of limited out of the box. You're going to get a stock 6.35 millimeter cable, but because it has dual entry 3.5 millimeter connections, you can use a plethora of aftermarket cables, including a number of them made by HIFIMAN themselves.
Right. I've been using a HIFIMAN 4.4 millimeter terminated cable.
Yeah.
They're available.
Yeah, wonderful to have that many options available. And price-wise, here in the U.S., you're looking at $1449 U.S., which in my opinion kind of puts it at the top, maybe even the very top of overall value in HIFIMAN's headphone family.
I will say, in my opinion, right now, it's the best value HIFIMAN headphone.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Today. Yes.
Yeah. So when you're at CanJam, you want to listen to this because if you know the HIFIMAN Aria Organic, this is an evolution of that sound.
Yeah.
And the Organic had, like the name implies, a very organic. I found it very natural, very harmonious sound overall.
Yeah, we loved it.
Exactly.
Still love it.
Yeah.
And so with the Aria Unveiled, like you're saying, it has a lot of that magic.
It does.
So it has impactful bass for an open back planar.
But not too much for me.
That's, yeah. So I love the bass.
Yep.
And then also it's bell clear all the way through, but it's never strident, harsh. Like, I guess just like the Organic name and the Aria Organic, this still maintains that.
Yeah.
So it has very natural treble. I've run my sibilance test tracks through it. It never imparts sibilance.
But it has enough sparkle for me. I love the upper end of
Yes, it's extremely resolving
Yes.
images beautifully, which is probably helped by the unveiled nature of it.
I think so.
So this, to me, again, the Aria Unveiled is the best value HIFIMAN headphone I think available today.
Yeah, and since everybody can audition at CanJam, they absolutely have to.
This is the HIFIMAN HE600. I was very, very excited about the HE600 because they said it's inspired by the iconic HIFIMAN HE6,
Right.
which for you OG HIFIMAN fans, you know what it is. And so that was a big deal. Does it sound like the HE6? We'll get to that shortly. But it certainly looks the part,
Yeah, it does.
form factor-wise. All right. So let's talk about what the HE600 is. It's obviously a planar magnetic headphone. They say it uses second-gen Neo Super Nano diaphragms that are 60% of the first-gen diaphragm's thickness, so thin diaphragms. Enhanced magnets design using rare earth-free magnets. HIFIMAN's focus pad ear pads are used with this headphone with memory foam interior and pleather and soft velour exterior. And it has a new composite headband. It is a new style headband for HIFIMAN, and I quite like it.
Yeah.
It's 20 to 30 grams weight reduction versus the originals and rotatable hinges. And speaking of weight, it's 389 grams versus the HE6's 502 grams with 28 ohm impedance and the sensitivity, which is important to mention, though not, I wouldn't call these an efficient headphone. They're certainly easier to drive than the HE6s with 94 dB sensitivity as they're listing here.
Yeah.
Definitely way easier to drive. Now, they're $799, and that moves them into one of my favorite HIFIMAN headphones for the money. And I'll explain why now. So here's how they describe them. They say, it successfully replicates the sound signature of the HE6 driven by a high-power amplifier. And that's an important qualifier because most of us using the HE6 back in the day were using headphone amplifiers.
Yeah.
And that means most of us using the HE6 were hearing a brighter, as I recall, it was a brighter headphone. Now, you have to understand, when we're working on these preview videos, it's not unusual that we go for weeks, like into the middle of the night every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't have time to do a direct comparison, but I have a lot of experience with the HE6. And it's true. Like, you'd go to HeadFi meets, and you OG HIFIMAN fans will remember this. At HeadFi meets, the best you'd usually hear the HE6 sound was out of somebody that had a rig driving it with speaker amps. And they could sound more organic that way. But out of headphone amps, they were usually brighter.
Yeah.
This, then, I understand why they're making that qualified comparison. Because this is easier to drive, and out of headphone amps, it sounds smoother than the HE6 did. It's still extremely detailed. Frankly, that treble is extremely clean. Extremely clean. And it's just a more organic sounding headphone than the HE6 was out of headphone amps. And for that, I love it. It's also just easier to drive.
Yeah.
And for that, I love it. And again, for $799, it moves into certainly one of my favorite HIFIMAN headphones for the price that they've released in some time. So, am I excited about the HE600? Enough to tell you that at CanJam, you better hear them. They had my attention with the word tube.
Yeah, they did.
They had me at tube. This is the Acoot TH1. It's a wireless headphone, and you can use it wired as well. We'll get to that in a minute. But inside, Acoot says that it uses a triode vacuum tube preamp that uses the new tube 6P1 dual triode vacuum tube.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. The driver is a 40mm titanium transducer dynamic driver, and it has inside dual DAC design. Very cool. And it also has a high bias Class AB dual mono amplifier.
Yeah.
Also very cool. So it sounds like they're taking that sort of component, like separate audio components approach, crammed into a headphone form factor.
Yeah, I like that design.
I do too. I think that's the way to do it for audiophile wireless headphones. Now, transparency mode and ANC, which is nice. So now we're getting into the more wireless headphone type features. Active hybrid noise cancellation, so feed forward and feedback ANC.
Right.
Bluetooth 5.3 with SBC, AAC, and LDAC.
And I'm glad it has LDAC.
I am too. I think most audiophiles for a premium wireless headphone are going to expect one of the high-res codecs at least, and this has
Absolutely.
LDAC. Thank goodness. Analog and digital input. Now, this brings me to how you use it wired. So for analog, there's 3.5 millimeter. For digital, USB-C. And I believe then you'd be activating the dual DACs inside.
Right.
And you can decode up to 32-bit, 384 kilohertz, which is very nice. 20-hour runtime at max volume. That's an interesting spec.
Yeah, it is.
So Ethan, he's one of our colleagues. Ethan, you can listen at your normal listening volume for 20 hours with these. He listens very loudly. What can I say? He does. 3.5 hours to a full charge, 30 hours standby, which is nice. It comes with the Acoustics tuning app.
Oh, yeah, I want to mention something about that because I think I spent more time with the app than you did.
You definitely did, yeah.
But you pair it with the headphone, and then you can swipe through. It's a very simple interface, but there's a lot of preset EQs. I gravitated towards 2 of them. I'll let you guys kind of guess which 2. But there's a lot of options pretty much right out of the box. You have to try it with the app when you demo this.
Yeah, it's actually a nice, elegant app.
It is.
I mostly listen to it in its default signature.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in just a second. So Siri and Google Assistant support. Gunmetal or satin aluminum finish. I believe this is the satin aluminum finish.
Yes.
$799, so it's premium priced, but it is a premium wireless headphone with all those things I've already talked about, and also tube stuff, which I dig. All right, the default sound signature to me is like even-handed for a wireless headphone, because with wireless headphones you get oftentimes like a bass-boosted signature.
Yeah.
And this actually has a pretty bass-tame signature. I would call it kind of the perceived flat bass signature to my ears, and then overall just a nice even-handed, detailed response. Like these are audiophile wireless headphones to me.
Yeah.
And then if you want more of anything, the tuning app that we just talked about.
Absolutely.
So at CanJam, if you're looking for a premium headphone, even if you're a tube enthusiast or not a tube enthusiast, either way, you're looking for a premium wireless headphone at CanJam, these you have to audition. This is, again, the Acoustics TH1. So now we're going to talk about a headphone that I really, really wish was here.
Yeah.
So of all the headphones that are not here at HeadPhi HQ, this is at or near the top of my list of the ones I wish that were that aren't.
Yep.
And it's the RAAL 1995 Imanis. It's their flagship, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
So you guys might remember the RAAL Requisite SR1A. It was a ribbon driver headphone that had adjustable angle earpieces. A bit finicky, though. So when you got the angle dialed in for you, and it was almost like different, I think, for everybody.
Yeah.
And when you got it dialed in for you, it was quite groovy. Really good headphone. That said, the Imanis to me is orders of magnitude better. So the RAAL Requisite SR1A, I should clear this up, and the RAAL 1995 Imanis, these are essentially the same teams, the same company making it. Okay, there's a name change somewhere in there to RAAL 1995. So the Imanis is the flagship. It's a cost-no-object flagship. It is quite expensive.
Very.
All right. So it has 3 ribbons per side. Now, the thing you need to know about ribbon drivers, they're insanely fast.
Yeah.
I think they have excellent bass as well, is implemented in the RAAL headphones. So versus the SR1A, the Imanis has, according to them, under the hood, everything is new. This is the next generation of ribbon drivers that in certain areas parted ways with the old, but inherited the best features of the previous ones. And they say for the 3 ribbon drivers per side, each ribbon is tuned slightly differently so they cannot repeat errors in the same way.
Yeah, which I think is a brilliant design.
It's a neat way to put it.
Yeah.
Now, they do require a transformer with most amplifiers to use because I believe the native load coming right off the headphone is, or into the headphone is too low an impedance for most headphone amplifiers. So you will require a transformer most likely. I think there's an amp or 2 that can drive them directly that are purpose-built for it. There's an optional transformer that has a built-in headphone stand, an optional transformer with high-low impedance inputs. And the ear pads, I should mention, are made of lamb suede with perforated leather, and they're extremely comfortable.
Yeah, they are.
Now I want to talk about the sound signature of the Imanis. The Imanis, to me, is an incredible headphone. It is within my range of neutrality, but there's something about them, and I think it's those ribbon drivers, the 3 ribbon drivers per side, the speed of them. I don't know what it is about those driver types, but it's like everything within the entire spectrum just jumps off those drivers. It's like physical texture.
Yeah.
And I love it about it. So the bass is visceral, but it's not emphasized to my ears. I've not measured it, not seen a measurement of it, but that's how I'm going to describe how it sounds to me. And that's what makes it so special. And I think the RAAL Imanis is probably, the RAAL 1995 Imanis is, I would say, one of the best headphones I've heard. It's certainly one of the best headphones available today. Absolutely one of the most resolving, if not the most resolving non-electrostatic headphones I've heard. And just a can't miss cost-no-object flagship headphone.
When we think about all the headphones and audio gear that come through HeadPhi HQ, We are constantly changing it up and listening to new and exciting models. But there are a number of headphones that are in our stables that we just go back to time and time again. For me, one of those is the classic AKG K712. And I know many headfires know and love this headphone along with me. Mine is a made in Austria model. And I want to mention that because some of the original AKG Austria team left the company and founded a new one called Austrian Audio. They released this. This is the Austrian Audio The Composer, and I love it.
I am not surprised.
Yeah, it's a fantastic headphone. So the Composer is a full-size open-back headphone with a 49mm dynamic driver, and that driver has a DLC-coated diaphragm. It has an adjustable and tiltable ear cup system, and they have a magnetic connection. I love magnetic connections on ear pads. So easy to swap them out when you need to.
I agree.
It is a fully serviceable design, so if something were to get damaged and you had to replace something on the headphone, it is very, very serviceable. I think even you could probably fix a lot of these parts.
Maybe.
It's a 22 ohm headphone. It is 385 grams, so it's not the lightest of headphones, but it's also not super heavy. And I want to mention that because the headband suspension system on this distributes that weight so well over the top of my head. Very, very comfortable to listen to.
Yes, they're very comfortable headphones.
Yeah, they are. Now, the cable I want to mention because it has a very interesting connector. So it has a banana jack connector on the headphone side, which is unusual, but I like it. It has a, you're definitely going to make sure you get the right side for one, and it has a nice look to it, really just kind of striking. It comes with 3 different cables in the box. You get one 4-pin XLR in 3-meter length, one 4.4mm cable in 1.4-meter length, and one 3.5mm cable in 3-meter length. Now, in the box, you also get a 6.35mm adapter for that 3.5mm cable. So obviously I've just been sticking with the shorter cable because I tend to listen at a desk, but if you're the kind of person that listens across the room or far away from your rig, those 3-meter cables really do come in handy.
Yeah.
Now it's going to set you back $26.99. So it's, it's a price that's higher than like an entry or mid-level headphone, but I feel that price is deserved when you get to the sound. The sound to me is just resolving and clear and detailed, and it has so many things that I love. The bass level is like a studio reference bass level, which I think is intended. I think this is actually designed with engineers in mind, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not surprised given the serviceability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds phenomenal. It's right in my wheelhouse. It's something that I can listen to for hours and hours on end.
Now, would you describe it as in your range of neutrality?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of figured, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not the newest headphone, but at CanJam, if you've never heard one before, or if it's been a while and you want to get reacquainted, absolutely listen to the Austrian Audio The Composer. Before we move on, I want to let you know about some exciting headphones that will be at CanJam Dallas that we didn't have time to talk about. If you're interested in hearing 2 new Fostex models, and who isn't, check out the Fostex TH910 and TH919 at American Music and Sound's CanJam exhibit. You'll find the latest headphones from Beyerdynamic, like their DT1770 Pro and DT1990 Pro at Beyerdynamic's exhibit. Bloom Audio will be offering Headfires an exclusive demo of the Fosi Audio i5, and headphone DIYers will want to check out the latest headphone drivers at the Dynaburg Technology table. T+A will be showing a wireless headphone that I want to spend more time with, the T+A Solitaire T. And where can you hear 2 in-demand headphones, the Warwick Acoustics Aperio Golden Sound Signature Edition and the Modhouse Tungsten together? Only at Mimic Audio's CanJam Dallas exhibit. Technics will be joining us at CanJam Dallas this year, and they're also one of our CanJam Dallas event sponsors, so thank you Technics for helping make CanJam Dallas possible. Now, let's take a look at what Technics will have for you to audition at CanJam Dallas 2025. Technics has been around for quite some time now, since 1965 in fact, and when I think of the name Technics, images of turntables, speakers, and integrated amplifiers immediately come to mind. But it's their in-ear monitors that I recommend trying first at CanJam, beginning with the Technics EAH AZ100. Why, you might ask? Several reasons. First, it has crazy battery life with a 10-hour uninterrupted runtime and an additional 28 hours waiting in reserve thanks to its charging case. Second, the AZ100 is reported to have an active noise cancellation system that can go toe-to-toe with the latest offerings from Sony and Bose. As a current Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra owner, I need to put those two head-to-head for daily use. Then there's the spatial audio for Dolby Atmos and Dolby head tracking, multi-point connectivity, an IPX4 water resistance rating, voice focus AI, and more. They'll also be showcasing a more traditional wired IEM called the Technics EAH TZ700. The TZ700 is a 10mm dynamic driver IEM featuring a proprietary air control chamber that Technics says precisely controls the internal airflow for the perfect balance among frequency bandwidths. The TZ700 is an IEM designed with headfires in mind. CanJam will be the perfect place to audition the flagship true wireless EAH AZ100, the wired EAH TZ700, and the rest of the Technics IEM family, so come discover what the skillful engineers at Technics have created with the many years of experience under their belt.
Now, this is a collaboration IEM between Astell&Kern and 64Audio. It's called the ZEO, and I'm so here for the ZEO. I love the ZEO. So another fantastic collaboration IEM with Astell&Kern, and I love the ZEO. So I need to talk about the ZEO on a couple different fronts.
Right.
The basics, of course, what it is, but also the platform it's built on. All right, I'll explain. So let's talk about the basics. It's a 10-driver hybrid IEM, and on each side there are 2 dynamics for lows in an isobaric arrangement, specifically a cone-to-magnet isobaric arrangement. 6 balanced armatures for mids, 1 balanced armature for high mids, and 1 TIA balanced armature for highs, all of that in a 4-way passive crossover design. Now, if that all sounds familiar, that's because the ZEO is effectively built on the 64Audio Velour platform.
Right.
And for me, that's an entirely positive, beautiful thing, because since its release, the Velour has been one of my reference IEMs. I actually prefer the ZEO for sound, but also for the way it looks, which we'll get to in just a second, but for the sound as well. All right, we'll get back to that. So the looks, so beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
So the body, made of 904L stainless steel. This is a very high-grade stainless steel. I believe if you bought a stainless steel Rolex watch today, it's probably 904L stainless steel.
Yeah, and it's the same stainless steel found in the AN Ultima SP4000 as well.
Ah, yes. One of our reference players here. And one of the things they do with the 904L, though, on the ZEO is they DLC code it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge DLC fan. DLC stands for diamond-like carbon. It is an inordinately durable coating.
Right.
There are hobbies that I participate in, for example, I like to go to the range sometimes and shoot targets. And some of the pistols that I shoot use DLC coating. For high wear areas, I've just never seen a coating so durable. I don't even know that there is a more durable coating that you can use in that application than DLC.
Right.
And on the ZEO, they use a glossy DLC. I have to imagine it is also incredibly durable. It's also incredibly beautiful. I love that 2-layer faceplate and the angles and everything. I actually think the ZEO is probably one of the most beautiful looking IEMs out there right now.
Yeah.
I love the way it looks. All right. It also has a 64Audio Apex system, like other 64Audio IEMs, like the Velour.
Yeah.
And like the Velour, it comes with an M15 installed, but it has the other Apex modules as well. I happen to think the M15 is the best sounding module on it. I'll get to that in a second. But now Philip from 64Audio at CanJam SoCal 2025 told me a little detail I didn't know about, which is that the M15 module on the ZEO, specifically, just the M15 module, is also made of 904L stainless steel and is DLC coated.
I wonder if they needed to use that steel to specifically get that DLC coating.
Yeah, because I don't know that DLC would work with the other alloy they're using on the other.
I don't either.
On the other Apex modules, but so just that one. The rest of the Apex modules are standard Apex modules.
Right.
But that M15 is special, stainless steel, DLC coated. All right. The cable is a 4-core cross-braided silver-plated UPOCC copperlets cable with a 2-pin connection on the ear side and 4.4mm termination. I think this cable looks and feels and is constructed like a high-end aftermarket cable.
Oh, it definitely does.
I love that about it. I think most ZEO owners will probably keep that cable in place. Leather carrying case, simple, elegant, and then handcrafted in the USA, $3,000. It's a little more expensive than a Velour.
It is.
I'm going to say it. Totally worth it.
It is.
There's the build, the appearance. I love the way the Velour looks, that striking color of the Velour, but these are just like kind of next level elegance. Right. These are pretty bougie.
They are.
Yeah, I love them. But the sound, more importantly. So I love the Velour sound. Again, one of my references since its release has been out for a while. This tightens it up. Didn't know that I wanted that from the Velour. It makes the bass more controlled, more textured, and I didn't know I wanted that. But also not just the bass. The balance is still all there that I love, but presence region, upper mids, treble, all of it is just more refined.
Right.
The ZEO is now one of my references. It'll probably replace the Velour because they're close, familial in sound. And if you want to hear one of my high reference IEMs right now at CanJam, make sure you hear the Astell&Kern 64 Audio Zeo. Fantastic IEM.
This is a rather interesting IEM, and it comes to us from Astell&Kern. This is called the Astell&Kern Luna. Now, one of the reasons why I say it's a rather interesting IEM is because of the driver. Inside of this is a single 13mm unipolar microplanar magnetic driver. Now, they call that the Katabiki driver, and that was the IEM and driver were developed in collaboration with Madu, which is a Japanese company. I'm sure a number of headfires recognize them as an IEM maker. It has a titanium housing, and I love this the finish on this. We love titanium. They did a fantastic job getting that perfect titanium look, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I also think it's just a beautiful design.
It absolutely is. Now, for that design, they say that it's inspired by the soft curves of the moon. Luna's shape provides a calm and stable listening experience. I also want to say that this is super comfortable. This is an IEM that I feel like I can listen to for a long period of time without any kind of issue.
Yes, I find it exceedingly comfortable.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely. Now, the cable that's attached to this, it is an ELITech silver-coated OCC and copper OCC cable. That's Ono continuous cast. It has a custom recessed 2-pin connection on the earphone side, 4.4mm termination, and aluminum hardware. Now, in the box, you're going to get a number of ear tips. You're going to get three sets of ELITech Baroque ear tips, 3 sets of Acoustone AET07 ear tips, and 1 set of foam ear tips. It also comes with an Alcantara carrying case. It is crafted in Japan, and it's going to set you back in the US $29.69. Now, for the sound, this is another place that I find it rather interesting because I actually didn't expect the sound that we get out of this. Now, Astell&Kern says, with its meticulous design, Luna delivers deep bass and delicate treble, providing the best sound quality across all music genres. Now, I will say this is an all-rounder IEM. I feel like it's going to play very well with a lot of different music. And I know a lot of us have those specialist IEMs in our lineup that we reach for. We want a specific genre. But I like having something I can pop in and then just play my music as the mood takes me. But when you read that description, what really surprised me was the overall presentation, because I kind of got a different preconceived notion when I read that. What did you think first about the sound?
So reading that ahead of listening to it, I expected more bass.
I did too.
And so, okay, so what did they say? Deep bass and delicate treble.
Yep.
So it does have deep bass in terms
does.
of extended bass, but it is not emphasized bass to my ears for my tastes.
Yeah, the bass is right where I want
I
it.
would call it perceived flat or even lighter than that for me.
I love it.
And I knew you would.
Yeah.
I handed them to you, knew you'd love them. The treble, like they said, delicate treble, I agree.
And it's still detailed.
Yeah, and I find them like the upper mid slightly forward, like
Yeah.
a design. It's an articulate sounding IEM. Again, nice bass extension, just not bass emphasis to my ears. I think there are a lot of people in our community who love that signature.
Yeah.
You're one of them.
I am.
For me, I enjoy them, but I think you enjoy them even more.
That's probably true.
Yeah. So, but I do think I want to just reemphasize how beautiful I think the housings are.
Oh, I love the shaping and the sculpting on it.
They look distinctly Japanese to me.
They definitely do.
Yeah.
They have that kind of natural aesthetic that a lot of Japanese designs pull into their physical design.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So at CanJam, there's probably going to be a line to hear this. It's going to be worth it. Get in line. Make sure to give the Luna a listen. So Noble Audio is bringing the Prestige back to the stage because this is the Noble Audio Focus Prestige Encore. And for those that have heard the Prestige before, I believe it used to be their flagship, and this is taking those reins once again. So the Focus Prestige Encore is a 4-driver tribrid true wireless system. It has one 8mm dynamic driver, 2 Knowles balanced armature drivers, and one 6mm planar driver. So if you're thinking about the original Prestige, this is going to sound different because that planar driver was not there before. They've kind of pulled out a little magic, and now it's suddenly here. Speaking of other changes from the Focus Prestige, this has active noise cancellation. This has a new chipset. It's based on Qualcomm's QCC3091, and they say that delivers better sound tuning and more stable signal, and I will always take more stable signal anytime true wireless is involved because stability is king. It has a wireless charging case now, which is appreciated. They've changed the metal nozzles, so they're new metal nozzles with a 3 venting hole structure. It has a smaller housing, and they say it's more comfortable, and I agree, it is. And they also say that it has a more consistent wood color. Now, admittedly, I didn't see a lot of Prestiges side by side to really compare, but I'm definitely going to take their word for it, and this is a beautiful color. I love what they did. Connection-wise, you're looking at a Bluetooth 5.4 connection, and codecs, you're going to have SBC, AAC, aptX, aptX Adaptive, aptX Lossless, and LDAC, so a lot of modern codecs there for most portable devices on the go. It features multi-pairing and multi-connection. I also love that. And it supports Bluetooth Low Energy. Now, battery life, this is another place that it's improved. We have up to 7 hours with ANC or 10 hours of runtime without, and the charging case has 2.5 times full charge. So when you're thinking about without ANC, you get a maximum runtime of 35 hours, which is plenty without needing to stop back at the charging station and juice up. You will also get 2 hours of playback with about 10 minutes for a quick charge. You also get EQ functionality via the Noble Audio Focus app. And you and I were both playing around with the EQ settings. Obviously, we're going to have our own preferences. I actually ended up doing a custom EQ setting for this one. And, once I popped in my custom, I like this quite a bit. It's $699 USD, so it's a little more expensive than the original Focus Prestige. However, I think it's worth it. So the addition of ANC is already a benefit. It also has transparency mode, and you can turn off both. I've mainly been listening to it with the ANC turned on. I'm not noticing any difference between swapping back and forth ANC on or off, and that's appreciated. It also does have touch controls. I want to mention that so you can pause and play without messing with your phone. But sonically, once I had to bring down the bass a little bit, probably no surprise to a lot of people out there. However, once I did that, this is lovely. There's a lot of great detail going on, a lot of resolution and clarity. Bring out a little bit of just that bass presence, and I was very much enjoying this. This is something that I could pop into my ears, go out and about, and enjoy on the road. I'm actually curious to try it on a plane because the ANC here canceled out all the fan noise that we have inside the office. So I'm impressed.
Yes, I am too. So I would say, from the default signature, you actually took bass out?
Yeah, the default standard, I actually took out a little bass, like the 250 hertz down range.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so we have a difference in bass preference. I enjoyed the default. These are unquestionably reference, as true wireless goes, absolutely reference true wireless.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, these are fantastic. So at CanJam, I would definitely make sure to audition these, even if you didn't know that you were interested in wireless, because it's so convenient to get that kind of sound in true wireless. In 2024, Noble Audio released what we both agreed was the best IEM they've ever made.
Yep.
It was the Noble Audio Chronicle. They only made 118 of them.
Yeah, very exclusive.
Very exclusive. They were to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Noble.
Yep.
This was one of the IEMs that's kind of rare for us. We fully agreed on it.
Yes.
This was one of the IEMs we both loved immensely. Well, this IEM, the reason I'm talking about the Chronicles, because I want to talk about this one, which is the Kronos. This is the Noble Audio Kronos. This will be at CanJam. The Chronicles are gone, people.
Yeah.
But the Kronos is here, and it will be at CanJam. And they say the Kronos is inspired by the limited edition Chronicle that commemorated Noble Audio's 10th anniversary. Kronos marks a bold new chapter in the evolution of the flagship line.
I think that phrase, inspired by, is underselling what this is.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
It sounds like the Chronicle.
Yes.
They even say the same internal components as the Chronicle. I'm going to say it sounds like a Chronicle.
Yep.
Looks different, but it sounds like a Chronicle, which is a fantastic thing.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about what it is for those not familiar with the Chronicle. It is a 9-driver quad-bridge IEM. So on each side, 2 dynamic drivers for the lows. And that's one 10mm dynamic driver and one 7mm dynamic driver. 4 balanced armatures, 2 Knowles balanced armatures for mids, 2 Knowles balanced armatures for the highs, 2 Sonian ESTs, electrostatic tweeters, for the ultra highs, 1 dual membrane bone conduction driver. And all of that is tied together seamlessly with a 6-way crossover. We'll get to the sound in a second because I absolutely have to talk about it. Machined titanium shell is gorgeous.
Stunning.
Yeah, so the Chronicle had a very unique shell. It was I think it was entirely made of a...
That was drool-inducing,
Yeah, that was all titanium Damascus. This has titanium Damascus faceplates. But it uses this machined titanium shell. I've seen a sneak preview of your photographs of these, which we're probably showing now. The facets on the inside are incredible.
The machining is so nice.
It's so beautiful. There's not a bad angle on these. Those facets are so precisely and beautifully and sharply cut.
Yeah.
I love them. I love the way these look too. So these are still stunning looking to me. Hand assembled and matched. The cable is also gorgeous. It's a 4N pure silver cable. That's 4 nines pure silver. And then silver plated 6N OCC copper. So that's 6 nines Ono continuous cast copper. And palladium plated 4N pure silver.
Yeah.
2 pin connectors on the earpiece side, and then 4.4mm termination, and these are $4,500. So these are less expensive by a margin.
Significantly,
than I remember the Chronicle being. And you're getting Chronicle sound.
Yes.
I'll say it again. This is the best sounding IEM. So these and the Chronicle, they sound the same to me, are the best sounding Noble IEMs I've heard. I think they're fantastic flagship IEMs. So what's the signature like? These are definitely, for me, on the neutral side. These are like neutral reference flagship monitors to my ears.
Yeah.
But there's a catch, and it's a nice catch. It's that the treble is on the higher side of my preferences.
Not mine.
Not yours. But it's in a way that, for me, is a very good thing.
Yeah.
It's this beautiful articulation in air, beautiful balance, the image is gorgeous.
Yep.
It might have something to do with that. It might have something to do with any number of things, but this is such a beautiful sounding IEM.
Yes, it is.
And it's flagship class all the way. So they're giving Chronicle sound in the Kronos for $4,500 at CanJam. Hello.
Yeah.
You do not want to miss these. This is an IEM, again, that Brian and I both love, that we both agree on. Doesn't happen to this degree very often, but we are 100% in agreement on this one. We love this. This is the Kronos. It sounds like a Chronicle from Noble Audio.
So, Jude, I'm going to give credit where it's due. This is the Noble Audio Focus Amadeus, and they just keep getting better and better with their true wireless IEMs. This thing's fantastic.
They do, and I'll give them credit where credit's due as well, because they have been pushing with true wireless for some time now.
Yeah.
And they seem extremely serious about the category.
Yeah, they are, and it shows with the Focus Amadeus.
I agree.
Now, this is a single dynamic driver true wireless IEM. Inside of it is an 8.2 millimeter driver with a custom triple layered diaphragm. The exterior, it is a glossy black housing with a striking red faceplate. I love how this looks. I think it's absolutely beautiful.
It is beautiful. That's not a surprising thing, though. Noble has been known really since their beginnings for making beautiful IEMs.
Yeah, they do have a long history of that. Yeah. It has Qualcomm's QCC3091 chipset, which brings Bluetooth 5.4, multi-point pairing, which I love because you can swap between devices very easily, and it supports pretty much all your standard codecs like SBC, AAC, aptX Adaptive, and LDAC, which is great because if you're pairing that with a DAP or a smartphone, it gives you a lot of flexibility.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, very nice to have. Now, this is one of the things that surprised me the most. Battery life. When you're listening to this with ANC disabled, it does have ANC. You get 12 hours of listening time, up to 12 hours, which I think is nuts, especially in a IEM of this size. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's longer than anything else I can think of.
Yeah.
For like a single listening session.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you get 8 hours if you have ANC enabled. That's still massively long.
Yeah, that's still longer than anything we're used to in true wireless.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you pair it with the charging case, you get up to a grand total of 42 hours with the recharges. Now, it also features a 10-minute quick charge, which will get you 2 hours of listening. The faceplates that I mentioned before, they are also touch controls, so you get things like, pause, play, track, skip forward and backwards, enable transparency mode, that kind of thing. And it also has transparency mode, like I just mentioned, which is nice to see because if I'm out and about with a true wireless IEM, I'm typically doing it when I'm moving around, and I sometimes need to be able to monitor the world around me for, shopping or just avoiding traffic.
You were just wearing them shopping.
Yeah, I was. Fantastic. And I do like how their transparency mode is also getting better and better in every single time they release it. It just sounds very, very nice here. It has dual microphones, which is great for conversations because it does feature Qualcomm's clear voice capture. Basically, if you're not familiar, what that's going to do for you is it's going to reject some of the outside noise and focus on the voice of the person who's speaking, the person wearing these. Very nice to have, especially because intelligibility is a big critical thing when you're out and about and you just get a call.
Yeah, it's super important for me because I'm on the phone a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to personalize it even more, when you use the Noble Audio Focus app, it also supports AudioDo's personalized sound. So you pair it with the app, you can do a couple tests, and then you personalize it the way you want to hear it. Now, this is $320, which actually is not even the most expensive Noble Audio True Wireless. However, I think this is my favorite sounding of every one I've heard so far.
I think so too. Now, how would you describe the sound signature? I want to see if I agree.
So I would describe this as audiophile fun for me. I get some low-end emphasis, but the thing that I find really interesting is even in the treble, I'm getting a lot of treble detail without feeling like it's being pushed forward. And I just think it's a really nice, comfortable sound. And I do love that low-end emphasis for me when I'm out and about because that's when I want to have a little more low-end reinforcement because it'll help, first of all, obscure some of the world that's going on around me, but also just bring me more into the music when I'm in the hustle and bustle.
Okay, so I will say that I agree pretty much with everything you've said.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is very audiophile.
Yeah.
But like you said, fun as well.
Yeah.
The emphasis on bass is mild to my ears.
Yeah, it's not too much.
Yeah, but I do love its signature. It's a very balanced signature, especially for true wireless. So I love the way these sound. I quite enjoy them. I have a feeling we either need another pair or we're going to have to take a lot of turns using this one.
Yeah, and I imagine everybody's going to be lining up to hear these at CanJam because you pretty much have to.
I was very excited when I found out about these. It's the Noble Audio Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Because it's a $699 IEM from Noble Audio. So I was glad to finally hear them. Glad we got them. They will be at CanJam. Make sure to audition them. Let's talk about what they are. So this is a hand-finished universal IEM that was inspired by Van Gogh's painting Starry Night.
And quite clearly.
Quite clearly. If I showed these to you and said they were inspired by a painting but didn't tell you which one, you'd absolutely guess Starry Night. Now, this is a 4-driver hybrid IEM. So on each side, there's 1 dynamic driver and 3 balanced armature drivers. More specifically, it's 1 8mm dynamic driver with magnesium aluminum diaphragm and dual magnetic circuit.
Right.
2 Sonyan E-series balanced armature drivers for smooth articulate mids, they say. 1 Knowles RAD series balanced armature driver for extended controlled ultra highs. Now, it does come with actually quite a lovely cable.
Yes.
The only information I have on it, it's a 2-pin connector, and it's an 8-core OCC copper, that's Ono continuous cast copper, with 4.4mm balanced plug. And again, it's a hand-finished shell. I want to say a little bit more about that shell because each faceplate is hand-finished in a swirling custom pattern that, of course, echoes Starry Night. No 2 units are alike.
Yes.
And it says the low-profile resin shell is sculpted for a natural fit, offering long-wearing comfort and excellent passive isolation for on-the-go or studio use. I actually wanted to mention that specifically because they are low-profile. If you can see, I have small hands, and you can see these are small shells.
Oh, yes.
So they really had a compact layout inside and gave you a very nice low-profile shell. I like that.
Yes.
Because I can actually, for example, lay down with them, which I dig. So they say it's tuned for contrast-rich, emotionally engaging sound. And then it says the Van Gogh is built for impact. Noble's engineers have created a sound signature that prioritizes boldness and texture, deep lows, layered mids, and a clean, airy top end that delivers energy without fatigue. Here are my notes. And I was kind of riffing off what I was reading after I heard them. I said the Van Gogh has a U-shaped sound signature, big bass, sparkly treble. Somehow, despite its richness down low, Noble has sculpted the tonal balance in a way that still allows the mids to breathe. I find Noble's description of the mids as layered and apt description. I really enjoy these.
Yeah.
But they're bassy, so there is bass emphasis unquestionably.
Yes.
And a nice treble sparkle, but again, the mids are allowed to breathe somehow through all that, and it's actually a lovely sound signature, and I like what they say, tuned for a contrast-rich, emotionally engaging sound. I agree. $699, a beautiful Noble IEM. These will be at CanJam. Make sure to audition them. We are each holding the Campfire Audio Andromeda 10. And specifically, we're holding the SE version, the special edition version of it, which we will explain in just a minute. So the Campfire Audio Andromeda 10 was launched at CanJam SoCal 2025 to celebrate Campfire Audio making IEMs for 10 years. I cannot believe how fast time flies. Now, one of the most popular IEMs they've made, and it's a family of IEMs, is unquestionably the Andromeda series. So I'm so excited that they're making an Andromeda to celebrate the 10 years. And the Andromeda 10 is fantastic. And let's talk about it. At CanJam SoCal 2025, it was very well received.
Yeah, it was.
So it's an all-BA design. If you're familiar with the Andromeda family, that shouldn't surprise you at all, with 10 drivers per side. On each side, 4 drivers for lows, 4 drivers for mids, and 2 drivers for highs. The crossover features a vintage new old stock film cap combined with a special ceramic cap. I think it's pretty cool that they specify that. The body, it's polished stainless steel, including a stainless steel Damascus. Which is beautiful with the layered look.
It is.
And it's PVD finished, just gorgeous. Now, there are 3 color options, and this requires some explaining of the special edition thing. So the Andromeda 10 SE, the special edition version we're holding, will be limited to 450 units. 225 each of the black and black version, which you have, and the black and gold version that I have, 225 of these. Now, the special edition will have a custom Campfire Audio inlay, just a little pop detail, which is very nice. On the black and gold version, it's a black inlay, and on the black and black version, it's a gold inlay.
Yeah, there's like actually kind of a throwback with this particular colorway because they had another Andromeda that was black with gold accents, and it just takes me back to that one.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
Now later, because this is a special edition, there will be an ongoing Andromeda green finish. So the Andromeda 10 will be available after these. I think it's after these sell out.
I believe that's true.
In a more standard Andromeda green, which
Yes.
is a gorgeous green.
And also no Damascus.
Yes, no Damascus.
Yeah.
So now one thing we also should mention about the special edition is the Andromeda 10 SE cable. So if you're familiar with Campfire Audio and their history, they go back to like ALO Audio. They made very lovely premium cables
Right.
in the early days of HEDFI, really. And this cable is so gorgeous and speaks to that heritage. And at CanJam SoCal 2025, I don't believe they had this cable ready.
I think they had one that was close to production, but
Close
not
to
quite
production.
done. Yeah.
And then also the IEM itself was not full production yet. It was
Right.
pre-production. And I will say they've tightened it down since then. So you'll want to make sure, even if you heard it at CanJam SoCal 2025, to hear it at CanJam again for sure. All right, so this Andromeda 10 SE cable is gorgeous.
It is.
It's a small batch premium cable, 7N OCC gold-plated copper. That's 7/9 Ono continuous cast gold-plated copper. 2-pin connection by popular demand on the earpiece side. I'm there for it.
Yes.
I like having that. I mean, I have so many cables I could swap with it, although as gorgeous as this cable is, I don't know that I would ever do that.
Right.
Swappable terminations, 3.5 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter. Now, the non-SE version of the Andromeda 10 will feature a standard Campfire audio cable. So I would highly recommend picking up the SE version if you're interested in the Andromeda 10 before they sell out. All right. Now, it also comes with a white leather case.
Yep.
And I also want to just compliment them on their packaging. For 10 years, they've been making beautifully packaged IEMs.
Right.
Some of the best packaging for IEMs really in the industry. And they definitely didn't disappoint this time either. Now, the sound. Let's talk about the sound, because it's an IEM, one of those rare IEMs that we both love.
Yes.
Now, Ken Ball from Campfire Audio says, it follows the general Andromeda tuning, only we feel the best yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's a biased
It is.
comment from Ken, but we agree with you, Ken.
Yes.
Yeah, we agree with you. So this reminds me, it kind of harks back to the original Andromeda. But this one, it's like informed by 10 years of experience making IEMs. This one has more air, more detail.
Yep.
The reason I think that we both dig it is because it doesn't really have, to my ears, emphasized bass,
Right.
but has beautifully extended bass.
Yeah, the bass is basically right where I love it.
Exactly, and I love where it's at too. It's to me, it's like it's more perceived neutral bass.
Yes.
The mids are very clean and detailed, but the highs are to my ears are quite airy.
They are.
So it's like Andromeda with extra air. And again, I'm there for it.
Yeah.
I think they did a beautiful job with this. Now, again, since CanJam SoCal 2025, they tightened it down a bit, so you'll want to hear it even if you heard it there. At CanJam, make sure to audition the Andromeda 10 to celebrate 10 years of Campfire Audio making IEMs. This is the Campfire Audio Grand Luna. It's a big sounding IEM.
Yeah.
We'll get to the sound in a minute. It also has a driver configuration that, at least I'm thinking of all the IEMs I know, I don't think it's a common driver configuration.
Right.
So let's talk about what it is. The Campfire Audio Grand Luna is a 3-driver hybrid IEM. That is, on each side, there's one custom 14mm planar driver for lows and mids, and then 2 balanced armatures for highs. All right. The Grand Luna uses Campfire's AAOI housing, which was first seen in Astrolith, and that stands for Additive Acoustic Optical Inclusion. There's a transparent housing. One part of it is transparent. And then it has internally dyed chambers. Actually, it's a gorgeous IEM.
It is.
Brushed stainless steel faceplate with flame-treated Campfire Audio logo.
That's the part that jumps out to me the most.
Yes. I'll say it. Campfire Audio is just one of those companies that is great at making beautiful things.
Oh, yeah.
Their stuff's always beautiful to look at. And this is one of those things. So the cable is a 6-conductor cable with high-purity silver and copper, PVC jacket, aluminum hardware, MMCX connectors, and swappable terminations. This is also where it gets interesting. 3.5 millimeter, 4.4 millimeter, and USB-C DAC.
Yeah.
So you can just pop this on the end, and you have a USB-C DAC, and it's all self-contained in here. This contains a Cirrus Logic CS43131 DAC that decodes PCM up to 32384 and DSD 256, which I think is very, very cool. Now, this is $1,399. And let's now talk about the sound. The sound, to me, is big.
Very.
So the bass is big. It's like smoother up top. I'm guessing, since you tend to like neutral and you tend to like more treble energy than I do, and this is really smooth for me.
It is.
My guess is this is probably less in your wheelhouse than, say, for example, their Andromeda stuff.
Exactly. But if you think about it, my tastes, I tend to like my treble up there.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense to me.
Gotcha. So you stick with the Andromeda 10.
Exactly.
So the Grand Luna, even for me, is pretty heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So it reminds me, that's the one thing about Campfire Audio's family of IEMs that I love, is they don't really have a house sound per se.
No, they deliver something for everybody.
Yeah, they try to make something for everyone.
Right.
So I can't even say they have a house sound. But this reminds me of kind of a specialist. It's like a specialist IEM in the way of something like a trifecta.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the trifecta, this doesn't sound like a trifecta.
No.
However, like a trifecta, it has big bass.
Yeah.
So this sounds like a more specialist IEM. If you love a rich tonality, a heavier tonality,
yep,
I think the Grand Luna is definitely something to consider, something that would be in your wheelhouse. Probably not in Brian's, closer to mine, but even then, pretty rich for me. But it images well for something as rich sounding as it is. And this, to me, is a can't miss at CanJam. Now, this is the Campfire Audio Axion. Now, I want to clarify something very quickly because there was another model from Campfire Audio called the Axion. It was called the Axion Multiverse 3 First Run Edition. It was a limited edition, and it's sold out. Now, this is now just simply the Campfire Audio Axion. It's a new model. I believe it's supposed to be an ongoing model, and it's only $249.
Yeah.
They've been knocking it out of the park lately with their IEMs, and this is just a wonderful, affordable entry into Campfire Audio's IEM world, which I think is fantastic. So this is a single driver IEM, one full range silicone dynamic driver per side. And again, it's an all new design, all new tuning.
Yeah.
It has a USB-C terminated cable, which I think is very cool. On that cable, built-in DAC, supports up to 32.384. It has an inline mic with 3 button controls. This is very handy. We all have smartphones these days.
Yeah.
If you have one with USB-C, you carry your Axion around in your pocket. You have a portable rig in your pocket, plug it into your phone, and you've got a setup. I think that's fantastic. Here's what they say about it. We set out to provide a high-performance, accessible entry into the world of high-fidelity portable audio. Axion checks all boxes when it comes to true hi-fi on the go, incredible sonic performance, plug-and-play usability, lightweight, and comfortable. It is all those things. It also has MMCX connectors on the earpiece side, so if you have a straight, like a straight plug MMCX cable, it will work with this. You can get those from Campfire Audio too, I'm sure, so you can plug it into your DAP. But even with the USB-C termination that it comes with, you can plug that in your computer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very cool. So as far as the sound signature goes, I would describe this as a richer tonality with sparkle. So it has like a mid-rich tonality with nice bass impact and also a nice treble sparkle.
Right.
It's a nice Campfire Audio IEM signature. Again, it's only $249. I do love that USB-C cable because it is something I'm just going to carry in my pocket or in my bag. So do not miss the Campfire Audio Axion at CanJam. These are the 7th Acoustics Asteria, and there's a lot of hype about these IEMs in our community.
Oh, yeah.
At CanJam SoCal 2025, if you look at the impressions thread, a lot of positive impressions. In the water cooler thread, a lot of positive impressions, and I completely understand why, having now heard them and lived with them for a little while. They're fantastic. So I want to start with the price, which I don't typically do. They're $3,800.
Yeah.
And that's clearly premium priced.
It is.
But here's what I'll say. They hit above that price in terms of sound to my ears. And we'll get to the sound in a second. So let's talk about what they are. The 7th Acoustics Asteria is a limited run of 77 units.
Yeah, very limited.
Yes, if they're not already sold out, I think they will sell out without much issue. And you'll be able to definitely hear them at CanJam regardless, so make sure you audition them. Now, on each side of the Asteria, there is a 10-millimeter high magnetic flux dynamic driver with something they say that they call balanced flow double venting technology. Fantastic bass. Again, I'll get to the sound shortly. Also on each side, 12 ultra-low distortion next-gen Knowles balanced armature drivers. And those are configured as 6 mid-range BAs, 2 upper mid-range, 2 tweeter, and 2 super tweeters. The wiring, I believe it's the internal wiring, 6 NOCC gold-plated copper and S-Tron silver-plated lits. They also use, they specify the solder.
Yeah.
Oyaide tin solder. So Oyaide is a Japanese company. They make high-end components, wiring, and they use Oyaide tin solder, which I think is cool. Connectors, spring-loaded, gold-plated 0.78 millimeter 2-pin connectors on the earpieces. Also something they call Echo Enhanced Clarity horn outlet. I believe that's the super tweeter tube they're referring to, and a radial bass port. Now, of talking about the chassis and the design, it's simple and elegant. They're beautiful, actually. CNC aluminum housing with gold ceramic coating and unique inlaid iridescent blue Morpho butterfly faceplate.
Yeah, it's a very pretty faceplate. I love the color they went with.
So do I, and I see what they mean about butterfly. It kind of looks like they're made of butterfly wings, but I don't believe any butterflies were harmed in the process. Let's be clear about that. Okay, includes bespoke Lyra pure silver cable exclusively tuned for Asteria, specifically a 4N OCC pure silver, 4-core 23.5 gauge Type 6 concentric lits, the jacket on the cable, ultra soft PVC, full ceramic coated brass hardware, custom blend tin solder, and the 2-pin connectors on the earpieces are also from Oyaide, and the 4.4 millimeter plug, the termination, is from Furutech.
Yeah.
So a lot of high-end components. And then there's the case. So the whole thing is so unique looking.
Yes.
And then the case is even unique. Genuine Stingray leather carrying case plus cable clip.
It's a lovely case.
It is a lovely case. We're both leather goods enthusiasts.
Yeah.
I have nothing made of Stingray, I don't think, that I can think of. That's a beautiful leather.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now we have to talk about the sound. So for all the high-end components and things they're putting into it, what about the sound? Super high-end sound. These are flagship class all the way. Again, I think it punches above the $3,800 price. I've seen online a couple of descriptions. Asteria's tuning leans V-shaped. For listeners who crave energy, clarity, and excitement over a laid-back presentation. All right, I agree with all of those things. The V-shaped thing, though, might make somebody think they're bassy.
Yeah.
Okay. The bass hits hard, but it's like sub-bass emphasis to my ears anyway. And I wouldn't say that the bass defines the sound to my ears anyway. You might disagree, but I don't think the bass defines the sound. To me, it's the treble.
Right.
The treble is so present. It's at the upper end of my limits, but in a way that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of something smoother, something like a Ice Lab Spectrumica.
Yeah.
That's like smooth, detailed treble. This isn't. I would not call these smooth. They are just really present, detailed treble,
right?
But very refined. The mids are super clean and linear. Imaging is beautiful. What I'm trying to say is that treble definition, that defining characteristic, as I hear it, is fantastic. And for that reason, I super, super love these things. I hold them really at the highest tier of the IEMs I've heard. And I've heard a lot of the best IEMs in the world.
Right.
And I would say these are in that grouping. And for $3,800 then, I consider them very fairly priced. And at CanJam, you have to audition the 7th Acoustics Asteria. This is the THIEAUDIO Monarch Mark IV. Now, I don't have experience with every THIEAUDIO IEM, but most of the ones I've heard have been phenomenal values for what you pay. And this one, I would say, this is one of those. So this is the THIEAUDIO Monarch Mark IV. It will be at CanJam, and you should listen to it. So let's talk about what it is. The Monarch Mark IV is a 10-driver tribrid IEM. On each side, it has 2 of THIEAUDIO's impact squared 8mm dynamic drivers. Then it has 6 balanced armature drivers and 2 Sonian electrostatic tweeters. And that's using a 4-way crossover. The shell is made of T6 aircraft-grade aluminum, aluminum alloy. And then there's an adjustable tuning switch.
Yeah.
This is important. Actually, you know what? I want to come back to that.
Okay.
Let's finish. Let's talk about the finishes. So multiple finishes are available. There's what they call Stella Shot and Kaleido Glow.
Yep.
Stella Shot and Kaleido Glow. I mean, those are names. We have the Stella Shot here.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about this Kaleido Glow now. So anyways, numerous custom designs to choose from on their store for an additional cost.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Kaleido Glow?
It's got like a cool kind of hexel pattern to it.
Okay, I'll have to look for that. And then there's a modular cable system that's made of ultra-pure, oxygen-free copper and silver-plated oxygen-free copper wires that have 4.4 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter terminations. Now, it's starting at $1,149.
Yeah.
So what are the price? Is it the finish differences?
Yeah, pretty much just the finish.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So now let's get back to the adjustable tuning switch. There is a standard mode, and there is a rumble mode.
Yes.
The standard mode they describe thusly. In standard tuning mode, the Mark IV goes back to its roots by bringing back a studio-neutral tonal balance. Now, of rumble mode, they say, rumble adds an additional 3 dB to the entire sub-bass shelf, increasing both the sub-bass and low-mid power. Accurate description.
Yes.
Unquestionably. All right. Which mode did you prefer?
Oh, come on, you know.
Brian definitely preferred standard mode.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say this now. I'm literally 50-50 on these. Because when I listen to standard mode, even though they're saying what they're changing, and I believe them, of course, is the entire sub-bass shelf and then sub-bass and low mids.
Yeah.
It has an effect on its tonal balance to me that with standard mode sounds sparklier.
Yep.
Like it's just sparklier. and it sounds like they're saying a studio neutral tonal balance. Totally agree. With sparkle. Beautiful sound.
Yep.
And it's definitely in my neutral definition and range. Almost like one of those ones that's kind of right down the middle of that. In rumble mode, it's on the heavier, richer side of my neutral range, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Now, even if they're not changing the treble, that tonal balance shift kind of smooths the sense of sparkle that standard mode had.
Sure.
But it's in a way that I also enjoy.
Yeah.
I know that you prefer the standard mode. You know,
I do.
Just given our taste differences. Yeah.
I will say, since they call it rumble mode, I actually expected a big change. 3 dB is nice. That's the right kind of difference you want to have between the two signatures.
To me, it's a pretty substantial change because it's 3 dB across a pretty...
It's pretty broad.
Yeah, it's pretty broad. And so it's over a pretty big frequency range.
Yeah.
But so I'm literally split between the two, like 50-50. But yeah, I want you guys to check it out at CanJam because I'm going to be very curious to know what that feedback's going to be like in the impressions thread.
Yeah. Maybe
we can have some discussions about it at CanJam. So let's stop and talk about it. But you definitely don't want to miss the Monarch Mark IV. This is the AME Igris. Now, the founder of AME is Jae-gun Song, a gentleman from Korea whom I've known for, I guess, several years now, actually. And he's one of my favorite people to run into at the shows because he is one of the most enthusiastic, upbeat people I've met in this industry.
Yeah.
He loves music. He's a musician as well. And he loves crafting IEMs. And this Igris from AME is one I totally dig. So let's talk about it. The AME Igris is a 7-driver tribrid IEM. On each side, 1 dynamic driver for bass, and it's a dual magnet, dual chamber design. 2 Sonian balanced armatures for mids and mid-highs, 2 Knowles balanced armatures for highs, and 2 planar drivers for super highs. And all of that in a 4-way crossover and 16 ohm impedance. The Igris comes with an ELITech cable. I love when IEMs come with a high-quality aftermarket cable. So this comes with an ELITech cable with a 4.4 millimeter termination. The price is $1,788 US, so less expensive than their flagship, of course, the Muse. And now let's talk about the sound. First, I want to talk about some show notes that we have here. I think these are notes from AME, right?
Yes.
They describe it as a powerful, charismatic sound with a very profound and bold bass response. Okay, I agree with that. Igris delivers deep, punchy bass, so much so that we would call it the son of Muse. Okay, so now I don't know if I would call it the son of Muse, like if I had to describe it.
Right.
The Muse, which is their flagship, is a big, bold, thick-sounding IEM. The Igris has that big bass they describe, no question. But it sounds to me faster and overall certainly more neutral to my ears than the Muse. Frankly, I prefer the Igris to the Muse.
Okay.
And the Muse is their flagship. And I think for anybody who's heard the Muse, who found it maybe a little too rich, a little too thick-sounding, I think the Igris is going to hit hard in a great way because it does have that hard-hitting bass. But again, it's faster and more responsive sounding to me, a little airier sounding than the Muse. I prefer the Igris. They have another IEM that I also really enjoy called the AME Raven, which I think has been your favorite of the AMEs.
Of all the AMEs that I've heard, the Raven is my favorite.
I prefer the Raven signature to the Muse. I prefer the Igris probably even to the Raven.
Okay.
So at CanJam, if you want to hear, this might be my favorite IEM from AME so far. If you want to hear my favorite IEM from AME at CanJam, make sure not to miss the AME Igris. This is the Forte Ears Mephisto. So this is the second IEM from Forte Ears. Their first one launched at CanJam SoCal 2024 with much fanfare. That was probably one of the most talked about new product launches at CanJam SoCal 2024.
Yeah, and it's still getting a lot of talk because that IEM actually went on to win one of the Water Cooler's 2024 IEMs of the Year awards.
It doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, I mean,
I love the Forte Ears Macbeth. But anyways, so let's talk about the Mephisto. First of all, it's $2,899, which means it's substantially less expensive than the flagship Macbeth.
Yeah, still expensive, but not $4,000.
Correct. And let's talk about what's inside. 7-driver tribrid IEM with 2 7.8 millimeter LCP dynamic drivers in a horizontally opposed configuration for the lows. LCP stands for liquid crystal polymer. There are 4 balanced armatures for the mids, 1 nano diaphragm planar named Aria for the tweeter, for the highs.
Yep.
Aria is a custom tweeter developed in-house. It's a custom-engineered nano-diaphragm planar magnetic tweeter.
Yeah, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, and a nice treble extension, by the way. 4-way crossover they call FCR, Forte Circuitry Relay System. It's a type of 4-way crossover. 3D printed resin chassis with cast silver faceplate.
Yeah, it's a beautiful faceplate.
It is so beautiful.
Yes.
So, okay, which do you? I think the Macbeth faceplate is also gorgeous. Which one do you think? Which do you prefer?
They're both lovely. Mephisto wins, in my opinion.
I'm torn. I love them both. So this comes with a custom ELITech cable, 25 gauge, four wire configuration. Conductors silver, silver plated copper, and copper blend.
Yeah.
Now, did I mention the price $28.99? The optional Temptation upgrade cable is $28.99.
Yep.
So same price as the IEM. It's a bespoke triple alloy configuration cable with gold, silver, and copper conductors.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the standard
Yes.
cable. So this, again, $28.99 with this cable, or you can spend $28.99 and get the Temptation upgrade in addition. All right. Comes with new ELITech Baroque stage ear tips.
Yeah, I haven't done a head-to-head to compare the listening impressions between the two, but I can tell you there is a size difference between the Baroque stage and the Baroque ear tips. So if you're a Baroque owner, when you're auditioning the Mephisto, definitely ask them about sizing because you might end up with a different size.
Yeah, so since the ELITech Baroque ear tip release,
Mm-hmm.
they've been my favorite ear tips.
Yeah.
Overall. I use them more than any other right now. So I love that they come with it. They've solved so many fit problems for me with IEMs. So
yeah.
Fantastic that they come with Baroques. All right. Now the sound signature. It has a familial sound. When I hear it and I listen to the Macbeth,
Mm-hmm.
I can hear that they're relatives.
Yeah, of course.
But they're different.
Yes.
So this, I think, was optimized from a tuning standpoint for electronic and pop music.
Yeah, and that's something a lot of headfires listening to, myself included.
Yeah, me too. But I listen to a lot of other. I listen to, and this is good across all genres I've listened to it with.
Yeah.
And I find sometimes when you say things like that, it can be perceptually limiting. Like you'll think that, no, I've listened to it across all genres. I listen to just about everything. I don't listen to Two Van Throat singing. I don't much care for Two Van Throat singing. But I mean, if you do, great. But for all the genres I listen to, fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a mild U-shaped signature.
Yes.
So whereas the Macbeth can sometimes be on the bright side for me, but in a good way, like a sparkly bright. I described it as something that that when it does it, I like it.
Yes.
This doesn't do that. I find the treble to be smoother. I don't really hear that with these. The bass with these is more impactful in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, a mild U-shaped signature. And it stages beautifully. The Macbeth also stages beautifully. I think some people who listen to the Mephisto and then listen to the Macbeth may prefer the Mephisto depending on their tastes.
Oh, I'm sure there will be some.
And though this is less expensive, I still consider this kind of a flagship class earphone.
Yeah.
So I think it's fantastic. So make sure to listen to both at Forte Ears exhibit. I think this is a beautiful addition to the family. Well, a family of one previously. But what a complementary pair of models to have to start with for first two models from Forte Ears. Fantastic, this Mephisto.
Unique Melody and MusicTeck are two names that we often see at CanJam, and they're coming together to create something that I think is rather interesting.
Yeah, so do I.
So this is the Unique Melody MusicTeck Pentara. Now the Pentara is a 13-driver quadbrid IEM. Inside there are two dynamic drivers. One is 10 millimeters, one 7 millimeters. 4 of Unique Melody's black label balanced armatures. 4 EST drivers, and get this, 3 bone conduction drivers, specifically 2 Sonium bone conduction drivers and 1 of Unique Melody's Freak Shift bone conduction drivers.
And that's spelled F-R-E-Q shift, not F-R-E-A-K shift.
Right? But I can definitely get my freak onto this, I think. It also has a 7-way pure acoustic crossover. Now, I want to mention that this is a pre-production unit. However, it's production voiced, and it's pretty far along. The production version will have a titanium chassis. It will also have, like this one does, a switch on the front of this really, really cool looking faceplate. That switch will switch between 2 different tunings. Now, as I understand it, one of those tunings was voiced by Unique Melody. The other was voiced by MusicTeck, and if I'm not mistaken, specifically Leo from MusicTeck's team. We'll come back to the specific voicing here in a little bit, but it has a PWAudio cable with it, and I think it's a great combination together. It is an 8-gauge 2-wire design. It features PWAudio's shielding plus shielding. Now, I did find it to be a little bit on the girthier side. It's a bit of a kind of a stiff cable. However, like I said, the two together, I think works very well.
I do too. It is an 8-gauge cable, though.
It is, exactly. Yeah. It's an 8-gauge cable. Now, going back to the Sonics, I spent pretty much all of my time listening in what I think is Unique Melody's tuning, and I found that to be a very neutral focused sound signature. And tell me if you disagree here, but I didn't find too much emphasis in the low end, but I did find it kind of gave a little more emphasis maybe to the sub bass specifically. Is kind of where I heard a little bit of boost, but not a ton. It's very nicely done. I thought it's a great sound signature.
I agree completely. So I also hear it as a neutrally tuned IEM. Like you, I find the bass impactful, unquestionably. Gives it a richness because the mids are clean to my ears.
Yeah.
And it gives it a richness. So there's enough there. I don't know that enough that I would call it bass emphasized per se.
Yeah.
The treble though is beautiful as well.
Yes, it is.
It on the one hand, it's on the smooth side.
It is, yeah.
But it's quite articulate.
Exactly.
And so overall, I would say it's still a neutral smooth signature with beautiful articulation in the treble.
Yep.
And the imaging is gorgeous. Now the switch to me is I'm not gonna lie. When I flip the switch whilst it's on my ears, I can hear the subtle change, right? And like maybe one is a little richer than the other.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one now though. And one is a little richer than the other. But the thing about it is, it's so subtle to my ears. I want to know if people at CanJam that audition it will feel the same. So please let me know at CanJam, because you can easily make the switch while it's in your ears.
Very easily.
And I can hear it again when I do the switch directly. But if you handed them to me and said, guess which switch position it's in without looking, I don't know that I'd be able to reliably do that.
I think I'd have a hard time too.
Yeah, so at CanJam, make sure to audition the Pintara. When you're talking about unique melody and MusicTeck and a collaboration, that's really exciting. These are two companies I'd love to see a collaboration from, and the Pintara sounds like the IEM I'd want to hear from that collaboration. It's a beautiful IEM. Ever since Canpur released the CP622B, as you well know, and I've said it many times, it's been one of my reference IEMs. Beautiful, magical mid-range. I believe it's the first IEM I heard with bone conduction mid-range drivers.
I think it was.
Anyways, love the mid-range of the CP622B, and it was the Canpur flagship. Catch that? Past tense. I say that was because I'm holding the Canpur CP752B. This is now the flagship of the Canpur lineup, and it will be at CanJam, and you absolutely don't want to miss it because it is an exquisite, beautiful-sounding IEM. Let's talk about what it is. The Canpur CP752B is a 14-driver quadbrid. On each side, 7 balanced armatures, 4 EST drivers, 1 planar magnetic driver, 2 bone conduction drivers. Now, in comparison, just to compare it to the CP622B, the CP622B was a 10-driver tribrid. It didn't have the planar magnetic driver. I want to say Canpur did a beautiful job integrating those 14 drivers of 4 different types into a very cohesive sound. They did it with the CP622B, though, as well. But then when you add like another driver type,
right,
it's a challenging thing to do. And it sounds as one, and that to me is so important. Beautiful job, Canpur. The CP752B has a medical grade resin shell. Their shells are always beautifully built. They're like, this one's actually rather simple in design. It's elegant, but they're like flawless shells. I don't think I've seen a single flaw in that shell. They say it has next gen tuning philosophy. That's pretty general. I'm not sure what they mean, but I can tell you I love your tuning for the CP752B. Again, exquisite. They say it's an evolution of the CP622B built on the CP622B's DNA. I actually hear that. Actually looks the part too, but I actually hear that as well, and I'm glad. Because what I would want from Canpur, like if they were going to make another flagship, when I was listening to the CP622B, what I'd want is an evolution of that. I wouldn't want them to completely upend it.
Right.
I love the way it sounded. And the way it sounds, it's still around. They describe it, the CP752B, as having richer mids and expanded soundstage. I hear the expanded soundstage. I'm not sure that I would use that phrase, richer mids, per se. I'm not disagreeing with you, Canpur. I'm just saying that I get why they're saying it, but I'm going to explain how it sounds to me shortly. And then it comes with an exclusive ELATech cable. Lovely cable, by the way.
Yep.
They say it's newly designed premium cable designed for enhanced signal transmission and aesthetics. Okay, that's literally the extent of the information that we have. We have limited information, but we have the actual IEM.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the most important part. Let's talk about the sound. All right, again, an evolution of the CP622B, I agree. What would I have wanted more from the CP622B, which is in the range of neutrality for sure? Well, one of the things I would have wanted was just a little more bass. Beautiful bass extension on the 622. 752 gives me that little more I wanted.
Right.
The 622 had beautiful bass. I wanted just a touch more. I got that touch more with this. Still as textured, detailed. Anyway, what else would I wanted? I didn't necessarily know I wanted more air from the CP622B. I'm getting more air with this. So there seems to be a little more treble energy, a little more treble air, but with no etch.
Right.
So what I always fear when companies try to seek more details that they could go toward etch. They did not do that at all with this. The CP752B is etch free to my ears. Now, on that richer mid statement, I'm not hearing it like that because I'm hearing maybe there's a little more in the treble, maybe a little more in the upper mids. And if that's what they're talking about, yeah. But that's not usually where I describe richness, maybe usually in the low mids to mid mids, where I'm not hearing necessarily more there with these. So maybe it's just a semantics thing. I will agree with them, though, that it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So the CP752B is an exquisite new flagship at CanJam. You absolutely have to check it out. It's still in that range of neutrality, but it has that touch more richness that I wanted, and it is an absolutely fantastic IEM.
So this is the Vision Ears EXT Mark II. It's the second generation of the EXT. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the original EXT, they made a couple of changes here. So first, I want to talk about the nozzle. So the original EXT's nozzle, some people gave feedback that it was a bit too large. That happened to be 7.4 millimeters. And for the Mark II, they've changed that down to a 5.8. So if you found the Mark I a bit too big for your ears, definitely check out the Mark II. Driver complement inside of this. It has 2 dynamic drivers per side, a 9.2 millimeter dynamic for the low end and a 6 millimeter dynamic for the mid range. Those are paired with 4 electrostatic drivers for a 6-driver hybrid design. And sound quality on this is phenomenal. I'll get to that in a second. But the chassis. So if you've seen the styling of the original EXT, that's been retained. It's still a beautiful, I love the style. So they have that same gorgeous purple that I fell in love with in the first pair. They also offer a gray silver now, which is nice. It's a little more understated if somebody doesn't want something as flashy.
I love the grooves, that X pattern.
Yeah, the pattern's gorgeous.
Underneath which is like a mesh.
The machining is beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Absolutely. And then so is the sound. Now, keep in mind it's been a long time since I've heard the original EXT. However, from memory, the EXT2, I find that it's a bit more controlled in the low end, brought down a little bit, which is better for me because I found the EXT originally a bit too bassy. Now, maybe it's because of the perceptual shift or they've done something else, but in the mids through the highs, detail and resolution galore for the way they've worked that into the sound signature is absolutely wonderful. I'll be honest, I still tweak down the bass a little tiny bit, but nowhere near as much as I did on the EXT.
Learn to love bass, my friend. I'm just teasing. He and I like quite different levels of bass, but that you're only tweaking it a little bit. Anytime you say that about something, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
When you only have to do a little bit to get us to agree.
It's in a good place. Yeah.
Yeah. So my notes I agree with you on the impressions.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned in my notes, Mark II is very clean sounding. It's a very clean sounding IEM, super resolving throughout, which is what you said.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. It could be just due to the perceptual shift, but I also think he probably refined it.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Further.
He is Oliver Marino, by the way.
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
So the bass is right where I like it, Brian.
Yeah.
With great extension and impact. So Oliver Marino, who designs, he's the engineer who designs and voices, I think, most, if not all, of Vision Ears' IEMs these days. He was one of the first, in my opinion, like going back to when the ESTs came out years ago, when they made their debut, if you will. He was one of the first to get like a properly integrated, seamless sound with proper presence from the ESTs. And he continues to do wonders with ESTs. So these, for me, I'm very happy and excited about the EXT2 at CanJam. Yeah, they should definitely be checked out by anybody looking for high-end IEMs.
Now, I've said in CanJam preview videos before, DUNU makes a number of IEMs that I find incredible. This is joining that list. This is the DUNU Vulcan 2.
DUNU actually makes a lot of cool products in several categories.
Yeah, they definitely do. So the DUNU Vulcan 2 is an 8-driver hybrid. It has 2 dynamic drivers inside, but I find this interesting because one is independently focused on the ultra lows and one is independent for the low frequencies. They're not sharing double duties.
One is like a dedicated sub.
Yeah, exactly. It has 6 balanced armatures, and 2 of those are custom Knowles BAs for the mid-range, and 4 are custom Knowles BAs for the highs and ultra highs. It also has inside a 4-way crossover with a physical and electronic filter inside, and I think that is very cool.
Yeah, I'm curious about the physical side of that.
Yeah. The chassis is aerospace-grade aluminum. It's, in my opinion, beautiful. I think it's very nicely designed. It's very detailed as far as the lovely curves and slopes
It's like subtle and sculpted.
Yeah, exactly. I like that quite a bit. It also comes available in 2-pin or MMCX terminations. Now, we have the 2-pin version here, but if you have aftermarket premium cables with MMCX options, you have choices.
Choose that option.
The cable, it comes with a high-purity, silver-plated, single crystal copper Litz cable, and that's terminated with DUNU's Q-Lock mini plugs. In the box, you get 4.4 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter terminations, but it also has an adapter for 6.35 millimeter.
And I like how DUNU's cables always look and feel like aftermarket, like high-quality aftermarket cables.
Yeah, they definitely do. It has multiple ear tips in the case.
A lot of ear tips.
And speaking of the case, it's a pretty cool case because inside there's this stretch mesh pocket, which is large enough for like a portable DAC. I like that.
To hold all those ear tips or
ear
portable
tips.
DAC.
Yeah, exactly. So it's $359 in the US, which I think is a great price because now I want to talk about the sound. So I think it's a great price because to me, this sounds lovely. It is definitely a vocal focused sound signature, and DUNU even says that in their materials. The vocal range as a whole is very clear, very detailed, very resolving. But when you compare it with the entire signature as a whole, it has a very nice, wide, spacious presentation. And I love the treble detail. It's very nice in this.
I agree.
And then the bass, to me, to my ears, is a little emphasized. However, people like you're going to find it more neutral, I imagine.
Yeah, I do.
But it's very well done. Overall, the whole package is so nice. I was just tapping my toes right from the first song.
All right, so how I perceive the tonal balance, Brian and I have different tastes, but I agree with you 100%. There seems to be a focus on vocal clarity.
Yes.
Done beautifully, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful vocal clarity. Bass, to me, is definitely on my kind of like, I would say it's perceived flat.
Right.
It's emphasized only to the extent that it has really nice extension.
Mm-hmm.
But I find it's level to be perceived flat to my ears. That said, the overall balance to me is lovely. I think it's going to be a very popular IEM at the price.
I have no doubt.
And I love the vocal clarity and the wide sound stage.
Yeah, so at CanJam, when you get the chance to audition this, definitely do because you'll find out why it's joining my list of DUNU favorites.
This is the 64 audio Volure. And I love this IEM, as you well know, because you work with me. It's one of my reference IEMs since its release, and it's been out for quite a while now.
Mm-hmm.
And still, I love this, and it's a reference. So much is it a reference that I have an aftermarket cable on it, because we get so many aftermarket cables through here.
Right.
This is one of the first IEMs I tested with, because it's one of my references. So let's talk about what it is, and I'll talk about why I love it so much. So the 64 Audio Volure is a 10-driver hybrid IEM. So on each side, there are two 9mm dynamic drivers and a cone-to-magnet isobaric configuration. And I'll say more about that. 7 balanced armature drivers. 6 mids, 1 high mid, and then there's 1 TIA balanced armature driver, and that stands for tubeless in-ear audio. I think 64 audio fans are quite familiar with TIA drivers.
By now, for sure.
Yes, and that's, of course, for highs. And that's all in a 4-way passive crossover design. It has a 3.5mm terminated black premium cable
Mm-hmm.
in a 2-pin connection. I have an aftermarket cable on it right now, but it is a lovely cable that it comes with. And then it comes with Apex modules.
Right.
Again, 64 audio fans probably are familiar with that, but the Apex modules let you adjust the sound of the IEM.
And the isolation.
Yeah. And you can change the bass with it. It comes installed with the M15 module, which happens to be the one I like the most. But from the M15, you can either add more bass, depending on the module you choose, or lean it up a bit, again, depending on the module you choose. And it's $2,499. Why do I love the Volure so much? Okay, the bass is probably one of the biggest reasons. The overall balance to me is beautiful, but that bass is so textured and impactful, and it is that cone-to-magnet isobaric configuration of this, I have no doubt. And it's unique to this. There's a certain something about its bass that I find unique to it, and that to me is important. Now, mind you, overall balance is still beautiful, and it images beautifully, but man, that bass, I love it. So make sure to check out the 64 Audio Volure. Yes, it's been out for a while, but still, to me, a can't-miss IEM at CanJam. MusicTeck has become quite well known for bringing the world's most esoteric and the highest-end IEMs to the U.S. market.
Right.
Now, they have affordable stuff, too, but I think a lot of us think of MusicTeck and the high-end stuff. I think I'm one of them. Yeah, so it's exciting when MusicTeck does what I think is its first collaboration IEM.
I want to say it is.
I think it is. This is the Quill Acoustics Satin. Again, it's a MusicTeck collaboration IEM, and it's a 10-driver quad brid. So on each side, there's one 10mm custom Q-Force dynamic driver, which they say is a custom titanium polyurethane diaphragm designed for sub-bass depth and agility. Then there are 7 balanced armatures that are curated from Knowles and Sonian for detailed mids and clean treble. One 7.2mm silken planar magnetic driver. They describe it as a custom planar driver for immersive ribbon-like imaging in air. One full-range PZT bone conduction driver, which they say adds spatial texture and subtle dimensionality. They say these are seamlessly integrated via a 7-way passive crossover that ensures tonal coherence across the entire frequency range. Now, there is so much information, by the way, on the Satin page on MusicTeck's website. You have to check it out.
Yeah.
So much going on inside because I think MusicTeck was doing all they could with Quill Acoustics to bring everything that MusicTeck has learned, to bring it to bear into their collaboration IEM. But we don't have time to go over all of it.
Right.
So I wanted to pick one thing that I thought sounded cool. The Trio Pass multi-layering phase system, which involves nested duct acoustic technology. They say Trio Pass is built on a purely acoustic framework of nested ducts, effectively eliminating unwanted overtones and residual noise to ensure accurate phase reproduction. They say unlike traditional methods that limit output, Trio Pass preserves the natural timbre or timbre of the sound, delivering a more authentic listening experience. All right, again, so much information about what's inside the Satin on MusicTeck's website. Again, we don't have the time to go over all of it, so we have to move outside, going from the inside to the outside. The shell, full-color additive 3D printed shell. They say Satin's appearance draws from the natural world, like a sunset over dunes or windswept mountain terrain.
Yeah, if you look at the model that we have here, to me it kind of looks like a sand dune along the beach.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a painting, kind of like a pastel-y painting.
Yeah.
It's lovely. Okay, the cable is a 28-gauge OCC copper cable. That's Ono Continuous Cast Copper Cable. That's designed by PW Audio. It's 1.2 meters long, has 2-pin on the ear side, and it's 4.4 millimeter termination. Now, the Quill Acoustic Satin is $3,299.
Yes.
Now, I think what they intended, and I need to qualify the price here with what I'm about to say, I think they intended it to be flagship accessible pricing.
Yes.
That is obviously $32.99 for most people is premium priced. But on the flagship side, I would call that flagship accessible pricing.
Yeah.
Get what I mean?
I get you.
All right. So now let's talk about the sound. So the sound for me, like taking all of what they said, like for example, when they say the Silken planar magnetic driver for immersive ribbon-like imaging in air, I am getting that. So the weird thing is for me is like I'm hearing a smooth treble that has air.
Yes.
Like a lot of air and sparkle, but yet it's smoother to me and resolving. It's actually quite well executed. Lovely.
Yeah.
The bass, to my ears, is extremely well extended.
Yeah.
Very impactful. You tell me, I'm not hearing, I thought you'd like the bass. I'm not hearing a lot of emphasis.
I like the bass. I'm not hearing a lot of emphasis, but one place that I am hearing some emphasis is the vocal range. I'm getting a lot of like female presence.
Okay, I am too. I thought you'd like that about it.
Yeah.
But I want to finish real quick with the bass. Again, it's kind of more in my range of neutrality, kind of dead center, but yet somehow still really impactful.
Yeah.
I really quite enjoyed it. But yes, the mid-range clarity is beautiful. Some emphasis with voices. That treble, again, is, to my ears anyway, kind of smooth, but with sparkle and air somehow. Well done. Well done. So I think a lot of people have come to trust MusicTeck when it comes to the flagship stuff, and MusicTeck, I think, felt a tremendous responsibility, if you will, with this collaboration piece to satisfy that and to meet, really, their reputation with their collaboration IEM. I think they've done it. So at CanJam, make sure to audition the Quill Acoustics Satin, a MusicTeck collaboration. This is the Empire Ears Odin Mark II. This is Empire Ears' flagship.
Yeah.
It will be at CanJam. Do not miss them. So let's talk about what the Odin Mark II is. It's an 11-driver quad-brid IEM. Again, their flagship. On each side, 2 of Empire Ears W9 Plus subwoofers for lows, 5 balanced armature drivers, 2 for mids, 3 for highs, and 2 what they call EIVEC Mark II electrostatic drivers. That stands for Empire Intelligent Variable Electrostatic Control. This is, of course, for upper frequencies. And then there are 2 bone conduction drivers as well on each side. And all of that in a 10-way, what they call a SYNX crossover. The faceplates are 24-karat gold, and they're gorgeous.
They absolutely are.
They're almost like ceremonial looking.
Yeah, you kind of want to have a display case for them.
Yeah, I almost felt like you were handing me an award or something. Like I won something when you handed these to me. And then the matte black aerospace grade aluminum chassis is made of 6061 T6 aluminum. Yeah,
that type of aluminum is actually used in a lot of places where you need lightweight but rigidity and strength. So you're going to see it in things like photography gear, high quality bicycles, outdoor flashlights, that kind of stuff. It's a great material.
Yeah, and the build altogether is beautiful.
Yeah.
The cable has, I think it's a Norse name.
Yeah, it is.
Kvasir or Kvasir cable. And the conductors, I believe, are gold, silver, and copper. Uses 2-pin connections and 4.4 millimeter termination. And the Odin Mark II is $4,299.
Yeah, it's priced like a flagship.
It's priced like a flagship.
Yep.
Now, in terms of sound, obviously the name Odin Mark II suggests that there was an Odin.
Yeah, it was a tribrid, I believe, not a quadbrid.
Yes, there was. an Odin, and it was, as you say, a tribrid. Also, the Odin Mark II adds bone conduction drivers, which I don't believe the original Odin had.
Did not.
Now, here's the thing. We haven't had the Odin here in a long time. And so neither of us seems to feel very confident in our ability to offer like comparative analysis in terms of subjective analysis of the sound. So we're going to just talk about how this sounds to us independent of the original Odin because of that. All right, so let's talk about this. So to me, I would say the Odin Mark II is overall within my range of neutrality. However, and there's an asterisk. It has a mid-forward sound to my ears that places, for example, female vocals in a kind of an emphasized place in the stage. And it's quite lovely, actually, especially if you listen to a lot of music with female vocals. I know you do.
I do.
I know Empire Ears is known for, like, some of their IEMs that were very popular are bass-heavy IEMs. Unapologetically. This isn't one of them. So this is what I would call, and I actually remember, I think the original Odin, so I'm going to try my best to remember, was one of those ones that also had more controlled bass. But this has controlled bass. Okay, I'm going to venture just one comparison. I seem to hear these compared to whatever memory I have of the original Odin as having a little bit more richness than the original Odin.
Okay, yeah.
And smoother treble as well. Overall, just a lovely presentation. Again, with some mid-forwardness. But this is their flagship. It's probably my favorite. This might be my favorite Empire Ears IEM I've heard. Which I guess is great because it's their flagship. And at CanJam, the Odin Mark II, and we have, a subset of users like the water cooler guys who love listening, especially to the high-end flagship stuff. This is a candidate. You got to hear it at CanJam.
This is an IEM that was completely new to me, both in model name and brand name. So
I've never heard of it either.
This is the Moritz Enzo. I love that name because it makes me think of Ferrari. The Moritz Enzo is a 9-driver tribrid IEM. Inside of it is 1 dynamic driver, 6 balanced armature drivers, and 2 planar magnetic drivers. The cable is a silver-plated copper cable. It comes in a 1.2 meter length. It has 2-pin connectors and 4.4 millimeter termination. There are 2 switches on the back. That's about all the technical information that I know about this, but I was playing around with those switches, and from what I'm gathering, the number 1 switch seems to my ears to kind of boost the upper mid-range and lower treble, and the number 2 switch boosts the low end. Now, in my notes here, I have Brian no like for the number 2 switch. So, yeah, a lot of bass boost. So for me, the default signature is not bad. I actually quite enjoy the default signature out of the box. It has an emphasis on the low end, but it really takes off when you flip that switch up. Now, my personal preference here is to turn on switch number 1. This gave me the best overall tuning for my preferences. It's still really fun because you have a number of different options there, and then you can flip up both switches, which is just kind of funhouse sound. It just goes all out into the fun side of things, and it gets wild.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you like the switch up on the 1.
Yeah, that's definitely my taste. Now, I have a feeling, based on what we've been reading on a couple of impressions on the forums, that people are going to be gravitating more towards the switch that I like as much. However, I do think people should be checking it out at CanJam because, especially if you're like me and you like detail and treble resolution, flip that number 1 switch up. It's actually a very enjoyable tune. We're no strangers to Softears here at HeadFi. We first heard Softears, several years ago. I think ahead of a CanJam Shanghai, if I'm not mistaken.
Might have been the first CanJam Shanghai.
It might have been. And they're back, and I'm happy about it. This is the Softears RSV Mark II. Now, full disclosure, I've never heard the RSV Mark I, so I can't really make direct comparisons, but I can definitely tell you what I've heard with this, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. Inside of it, it is a 5-driver IEM. It's an all-BA design. It has a 4-way crossover. The housing is made from medical-grade resin and CNC'd aluminum alloy, and also forged carbon fiber. And we love the look of forged carbon fiber, and it's so beautiful on this. It's very subtle, very tastefully applied. They don't go crazy, and I love it.
Yeah, we love forged carbon fiber. We have some headphones here with forged carbon fiber.
We do?
And then I also have knives with forged carbon fiber scales.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the cable that comes with this is a 6-in oxygen-free cable. It features 2-pin connectors, 4.4 millimeter termination, and in the box you get a 4.4 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter adapter, which I always appreciate when that's included. Now, I do also want to mention, before I get into the sound signature, because it's going to surprise a lot of people, this is only $699. Now, sound signature. To me, I find that this has kind of a tonality with a smooth upper mid-range and treble range. Now, for me personally, I want to qualify that. It's a little too smooth. However, I know a lot of headfires out there are going to love this sound signature because it's going to be right up their alley.
I'm going to help you qualify that statement further. Brian tends to like things that are perceived flat, like perceived neutral.
I do, or maybe even slightly treble forward.
Yes. But I think there's a trend with IEMs and a lot of the enthusiasts. I'm one of them, right? Where we tend to favor kind of that richer, smoother sound.
Yeah.
Or a controlled big bass sound even.
Yeah.
And so I know that doesn't really fit with your ideal.
It doesn't, but
that's probably more in my wheelhouse.
It's going to fit for a lot of headfires. And you mentioned big bass. I do want to, real quick, from my notes, I noted that it has a dynamic bass impact with big bass that's well contained. It's very well controlled and maintained throughout. And I think when you pair that with a signature that's smooth but still resolving and detailed, it's going to be a comfortable listen for a lot of headfires. It might be something they can just kind of unwind to after a long day, relax, kind of find their moment of zen in the evening. And yeah, for $699 US, I think that's kind of crazy. A lot of headfires are definitely going to want to check this out at CanJam.
I have no doubt about that. This is the Volk Audio A12. And while some in our community might not be as familiar with Volk Audio as they are with some other IEM brands, Volk Audio has tremendous IEM experience behind it. The man behind Volk Audio, Jack Vang.
Yeah.
Founder of Earworks, co-founder of Empire Ears, now Volk Audio. And this is the Volk Audio A12, developed in collaboration with Michael Graves, 5-time Grammy Award-winning engineer. I met Michael Graves and his wife, lovely couple, by the way, at CanJam Singapore 2025. Super humble. Joy to talk to. But anyway, let's talk about what this is. The Volk Audio A12 is a 10-driver quad-bridge IEM. On each side, one 10mm dynamic driver for sub plus bass. They call it the M10 dynamic driver. 4 balanced armatures for mids, 4 EST drivers, electrostatic tweeter drivers for highs, and 1 8mm magnetostatic driver for highs, which they call an M8 tweeter. And that's all in a 6-way crossover design and also a 5 soundbore design.
Yeah.
Now, they say that A12 began as a near-field reference monitor, then it was hand-tuned by Jack, adjusted by ear. Now, here's what I'm going to say about the sound. I think I understand what Michael Graves, the engineer who voiced these, was going for.
Right.
Because I'm hearing some vocal emphasis, but a lot of vocal clarity.
Yeah.
I have to imagine that vocal clarity was a priority here.
That's the best part.
Yeah, I see. And you tend to favor things that have that kind of clarity.
I do, yep.
Beautifully done in that respect. The bass surprised me a little bit because of Jack's affiliation. He used to be with Empire Ears, co-founder of Empire Ears, and several of their most famous models have been kind of big sounding, big bass.
Right.
Not all of them.
No.
But some of their most popular ones. I don't know why I expected that with these. There was no reason for me to necessarily expect that. But these have a more neutral bass, like perceived flat to my ears. Kind of midline at my neutral preference, maybe even a little bit less.
Yeah, and you're going to tease me, I know, because I find them ever so slightly elevated for my tastes.
How? I don't even know how. But our tastes on bass are different. But yeah, for me, more like perceived flat, neutral bass, which did catch me a little bit by surprise. Again, don't know why. So then the treble. Airy extended. It's quite lovely.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the magnetostatic drivers I don't know that much about, but was glad to hear it. But I do understand why these are studio monitors that I think audiophiles will also very much enjoy. So this edition I'm holding here, I should mention, is specifically the Founders Reserve edition of the A12.
Right. It's
$3,999, limited edition faceplate, 24-karat gold-plated frame, Italian-sourced midnight Saffiano leather. It's a textured leather. Limited edition ARC cable, solid core, 5N OCC silver, 4N silver, silver-plated copper, gold-plated silver, and palladium-plated silver. If that sounds like a high-end aftermarket IEM cable, that's because it seems like a high-end aftermarket IEM cable. CNC machine 6061T6 aluminum hardware, 24-karat gold rings on the Y-split, and then 4.4mm termination. The handcrafted carrying case is gorgeous. Matching leather interior, Goya red Alcantara interior, matching leather exterior.
Yes.
Goya red Alcantara interior. And this Reserve Edition, limited to 350 units, individually numbered. And again, these are studio monitors that audiophiles I think will love. And at CanJam, make sure not to miss the Volk Audio A12.
This little lovely IEM here, admittedly, I knew absolutely nothing about it until it arrived, but I am so glad we have had a chance to spend time with it.
Yes, so am I.
So this is the XENNS Mangird Top Pro. Now, it's a 10-driver IEM, and that's a hybrid. Now, that's comprised of 2 dynamic drivers and 8 balanced armatures. One of those balanced armatures is a Knowles Super Tweeter BA, and it has a 4-way crossover. The cable that comes with it is a 196-core copper-silver hybrid cable. It's a 4-strand braided design with 2-pin connectors and swappable terminations, so you get 3.5mm and 4.4mm in the box. For accessories, you also get a 6.35mm adapter. You get 9 pairs of ear tips. That's 3 pairs in 3 different styles. So it's a standard bore silicone, a narrow bore silicone, and then a wide bore soft silicone ear tip. And then it also comes with a leather carrying case, and the whole package is $499. And the biggest surprise is that a lot of headfires out there are going to love this piece. So I got to listen to it before you did, and to me, it sounded kind of V-shaped. Now, I want to qualify when I say V-shaped, I'm not talking about the mass market consumer V-shaped signature. That's an extreme V. To me, this is like an audiophile headfire V-shaped signature. It does a really nice job delivering some excellent treble detail with a little bit of emphasis, some excellent low-end detail again with a little bit of emphasis, and I think it's going to gel with a lot of CanJam goers.
A lot. The biggest surprise to me was, like you said, a lot of people are going to like it, but the biggest surprise to me was also that price.
Yeah.
I honestly can't believe it's $499.
I cannot.
Yeah, like you said, I would call it audiophile rich. But one of the things that I think helps it along, like you mentioned that it has the Knowles Super Tweeter BA.
Yeah.
That might be the best implementation of that Knowles Super Tweeter that I've heard so far.
Definitely one of the best.
Oh, yeah. Definitely one of the best in terms of how it's integrated.
Yeah.
And it gives that richness air. It's a beautiful sounding, balanced IEM.
Yeah.
Because I think in part because of that.
Yeah.
So once I heard this, you and I both looked at each other and we're like, ooh, I bet you MDAX is going to love this.
Yep.
So we wanted to run it through Head Acoustics, multi-dimensional audio quality score metric, and it did extremely well.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the best overall scores considering when you look at all the dimensions. So let's just look at those. So for mean opinion score timbre, which includes frequency response, spectral flux, and other things, 4.9 out of 5. For mean opinion score for immersiveness, 4.1 out of 5, which is actually extremely good for an IEM with MDAX. The MOS distortion, the mean opinion score distortion, 4.4, which is exceptional. And then the mean opinion score overall, 4.9. So taken all together, this is one of the better scores we've ever seen with MDAX. With a $499 IEM, it's exceptional. So I enjoy this IEM thoroughly. At CanJam, you have to hear this one.
All right, now I hope I'm saying this out loud correctly, but this is the Arpical Michael. I know I'm saying Michael correctly at least. So Michael is named after the Archangel, Michael. It is a 6-driver tribrid IEM. It has one 10mm dynamic driver, 3 Knowles balanced armatures in a 1 full-range BA and 2 tweeter BA arrangement, and 2 Sonian EST drivers. It comes paired with a 1.2 meter cable, 6-core, 2-strand copper-plated silver wiring with 2-pin connectors and a gold-plated copper 4.4mm termination. And it has a slider with a stowable design. You don't normally see a slider that goes into the Y-split. I think that's kind of neat because it actually keeps it cinched down instead of cinched up in a way. It is available in both a blue or gold finish. We have the blue finish here, and in my opinion, I think the blue looks better than the gold, at least from photos. And it's styled to look like angel wings. I mean, come on, it's Michael. Now, sonically, this is actually one of those pieces that I can get behind. It has an airy presentation to it, and it has a focus on the vocal range, which is an area that I like to focus on quite a bit. It also does have a moderately emphasized low end, but I don't find it too much. Now, price-wise, it's actually one of the... I was actually kind of surprised by the price because it's more like a mid-range price. It's $1,550 here in the US. I was honestly expecting it to be a little bit more. So the fact that you get all of this excellent sound for a price tag under $2,000, I think that's great. So at CanJam, the Arpical Michael is definitely going to be a must here.
This is the Nostalgia Audio Pendragon. So I love the way it sounds. I got to start with that because I'm going to do something I don't usually do. If I love the way something sounds, I don't usually start with the way they look.
Right.
I have to do it with these. They look stunning. How would you describe that theme?
I would say Arturian. I mean, they're called the Pendragon, so it's clearly inspired by King Arthur.
Yeah, they're ancient looking in a way that like I went back in time and stole something from another era.
Yeah.
Love that. So let's talk about, we'll get to the looks in a minute. Let's talk about what they are. At the heart of it, they are a flagship 14-driver quadbrid IEM. On each side, 2 9.2 millimeter dynamic drivers for sub-low, 2 Sonian bone conduction drivers for mid-low, 6 Knowles and Sonian balanced armatures in a 2 mid, 2 high, 2 ultra-high configuration, 4 Sonian electrostatic drivers for super highs, and that's in a 6-way crossover design. But now let's get back to the looks.
Yeah.
We'll get back to the sound and get to sound in a second. So the looks are stunning.
Yes.
I'm a sucker for that sort of ancient theming, because like I'm even carrying a leather backpack now with a Viking motif.
Right.
I love the ancient stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they say it's a Western Dragon inspired design. They use 5-axis CNC machined aluminum frame.
Yep.
Multicolor fragmented carbon fiber panels,
which is beautiful.
Beautiful. So I love that they've taken. It looks like maybe like a forged, like a layered carbon fiber. And they take this modern material and still give it this ancient look.
Yeah.
Which I love. And this is one of my favorite parts: micron level printing to create a 3D dragon scale texture in the shell.
I've seen nothing like it, and I love it.
I love it, and it looks like dragon scales.
Yep.
But they are inside, underneath this clear, smooth layer, which is nice because who'd want to feel dragon scales against their ears? That's the ear side. They're just stunning. And they look, again, like something that you went back in time and stole from another era. The cable is also beautiful. It's a Caliburn custom cable, they call it. 21.5 gauge cable. It's a Litz type 4S, 4-strand configuration. It's a 4N, that's 4 nines, German oxygen-free copper. 5 nines, silver-plated oxygen-free copper shielding, and then oxygen-free copper 4.4 millimeter termination. It comes with a custom 3D printed ear tip case, which is actually pretty cool.
It is.
And then in that, you'll find Nostalgia Audio XWB ear tips, custom Royal Blue Symbio W ear tips, and LSR ear tips. Now, all of this, and that lovely case, which is actually larger than your typical cylindrical IEM case.
Yes.
I love it. All of this is $3,799. So as Nostalgia Audio goes, that's definitely flagship pricing.
It is.
But, you know, the signature, let's get to the sound, is a sound signature that I think a lot of flagship IEM enthusiasts are looking for today.
I agree.
It's a rich, beautiful tonality with a smooth, beautiful, resolving treble. I very much enjoy these. So we have the Durandal from Nostalgia Audio. We both enjoy that. Probably more your speed because the treble for me is at the upper end of my limits for the Durandal. This doesn't have that.
Right.
This has treble that's kind of right where I like it, on the smoother side, but resolving. I need the resolution, but I want some smoothness.
Yeah.
And these have a beautiful, organic, rich tonality. So, am I a fan? Yes, I am. Do I love the way they sound? Yes. Do I love the way they look? As much, yes. If you can't tell from my enthusiasm, at CanJam, and these will be there, make sure to check out the Nostalgia Audio Pendragon and ogle at them as well. They're just gorgeous. And listen to them, of course.
Now, this is an IEM that, at the time of recording, I haven't seen a lot of discussion on it. However, I think there is going to be a lot going forward. So this is the Palavox Akasha, and it's a flagship IEM, but let's talk about what makes it interesting. So it's a 13-driver quadbrid, and inside it has one 10mm dynamic driver, 6 Knowles balanced armature drivers, 2 Sonian bone conduction drivers, and 4 Sonian EST drivers. It has a grade 5 titanium chassis. We both love titanium. And the grade 5 usually is very high durability. It looks beautiful, and then that's paired with a handmade color enamel insert, actually a couple of inserts throughout the faceplate. Gives it a very unique look that I don't think I've seen anything quite like it before.
I don't think I've ever seen an IM look like this. It's kind of a layered look.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I think that alone is going to catch a lot of attention on the show floor.
Yes.
It has a semi-open design with both front and rear venting, and I'll come back to that in a minute because I think that has a big impact on the sound signature. But the cable. It's a standard 1.2 meter length, but maybe less standard is the pure silver and silver-plated single crystal copper cabling inside. That's in a coaxial structure. It has 2-pin connectors on the earphone side, and it has 4.4 millimeter termination. And the hardware on this cable, it's both metal and enamel hardware. So they were clearly trying to match it with the earphone, but still give it its own look. It's got a little more of that enamel, and it looks just kind of like it's going to pop.
Right.
Now, sonic signature here. I was mentioning about that kind of semi-open nature because of the venting structure, and I think that's giving it the sense of air and spaciousness that I get inside of this piece because it's not as sealed as potentially other IEMs are. I'm also getting more of a focus on like the upper mid-range and the treble, which, hello, treble emphasis, I'm all about that. But I want to mention that I don't feel like it's overshadowing the low end. So unless you're a bass head, there's going to be plenty of bass here to appeal to a lot of people. Now, I do want to mention that the fit can be a little finicky. However, do some tip rolling. You're going to find the tips that are for you, and it's just going to lock it in. Now, price, the Palavox Akasha's $4,000. So it is a flagship price IEM because it's a flagship IEM. However, I do have the impression that a lot of headfires will be talking about this pretty much as soon as they can get back to their hotel rooms and start typing up show notes. So when you're at CanJam, definitely stop by and check out the Palavox Akasha because you kind of have to.
This is the Alpha and Omega Fulgrim. It's only the second IEM I've heard from Alpha and Omega.
Yeah, same here.
So you too.
Yeah.
But for only the second IEM I've heard from them, it is absolutely fantastic. We were sitting down and you were asking me as we were sitting down, like, what do you think of them? And I said, there's nothing about them I do not like.
Right.
In other words, I love them. So let's talk about the Fulgrim. So the Fulgrim is a 13-driver tri-bird design. On each side, 1 beryllium dynamic driver, 6 balanced armature drivers, and 6 EST drivers. That's electrostatic tweeter drivers. They're using an 8-way crossover, which they use to great effect. They integrate those different types of drivers beautifully.
Yeah.
So beautiful job. Bespoke Aura cable. It's designed by Astell&Acoustics. Cryo-treated OCC silver cores. That's Ono continuous cast silver cores. Air-inspired fillers. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, neither am I.
I'm not sure what that is. Ferromagnetic shielding and OCC SPC shield. Now, the Fulgrim is limited to 69 sets only.
Yeah, very limited.
Very limited. I think they're going to go very quickly. And the style, I should say, is striking.
It is. Now, the IEM, I believe, unless I'm very mistaken, is inspired by the Warhammer 40K universe. So anybody who plays Warhammer at home and is paying attention, there's going to be a lot of references that they probably picked up on here.
You would know
and,
that.
Yeah, it's striking.
Yeah, it is striking.
Yeah.
So you would know that. I would not know that, but no, I think you're right, actually. But it is striking. I love the purple and gold combo.
I love that purple.
Subtle it is not.
No.
But it is striking looking.
Yeah.
$6,900.
Yeah.
So they are flagship class priced, unquestionably. So this is more in that cost no object IEM range. All right. What they say about that beryllium driver, they say with its advanced beryllium dynamic driver, Fulgrim offers deep, textured, and controlled bass that resonates powerfully across genres like electronic, hip-hop, and orchestral scores. I've tried the Fulgrim with many genres of music. It sounds fantastic with all of it. Now, in terms of the sound signature, that bass, and I love that they kind of single that out with that beryllium quote, is it reminds me of what I would expect from a good beryllium driver. In the bass, textured bass,
right?
Very resolving bass and fast. Now it's also big with this one. So I would say that it's the bass is tuned above neutral for me in a way that I thoroughly enjoy. For you, that might be a little much.
It's too much for me personally.
Yeah, because you tend to like things tuned quite flat.
Yeah.
But I love the tuning of these. The mids are extremely bell clear, linear, very resolving.
Yeah.
The treble soars, a lot of air, a lot of imaging up there even, a lot of nice little beautiful elements in the image. I love the voicing altogether. Now, frankly, I thought it would do well with that rich tonality, that bass. I thought it would do well with Head Acoustics Multidimensional Audio Quality Score metric, MDAX. So I decided to run it on MDAX. How did it do? It had one of the best overall scores we've ever seen. Did not surprise me. It was high in like every dimension, like higher than we usually see in every dimension of MDAX. So that was exciting to see.
Yeah.
But also for me, not surprising. Again, I think the Fulgrim at CanJam will be extremely popular with that subset of our community, like the water cooler guys who love the price no object, flagship IEMs. I think this is going to be one of the top candidates at CanJam for them. This is the Aroma Audio Core. This is Aroma Audio's 10th anniversary commemorative IEM.
Right.
And in your show notes, it says Aroma Audio's latest and most luxurious ultra flagship IEM.
Yeah.
You weren't stuttering. Ultra meant twice.
No, I found that quote online. So, yeah.
And it's $7,500, so it's priced like an ultra flagship IEM.
It is.
Yes. So let's talk about what it is. The Aroma Audio Core is, again, $7,500. It's a 14-driver tri-bird IEM on each side, 2 dynamic drivers, 6 balanced armature drivers, and 6 EST drivers, 6 electrostatic tweeter drivers. I'm hearing those. We'll get to that in a minute. The cable, now you may have noticed if you're looking closely that there's a glowing green LED here.
Right.
That's to do with this cable. So 2-pin connectors on the earpiece side, 4.4 millimeter termination. Nothing unusual so far.
Right.
But then an inline amplifier. So that's what's glowing there. There's an inline amplifier that you charge via USB-C. Now, they say it's compatible with third-party cables, the Aroma Audio Core.
Right.
But it's best with the stock cable that has this inline amplifier.
Yeah, they told us that early on, so we pretty much stuck with the stock cable the entire way through.
Yeah, that's all I listened to it with.
Yeah.
So 98 dB sensitivity. And now let's talk about the sound. Actually, I want to talk quickly about the design. The design is kind of I would say it's kind of a simpler, elegant design.
Yeah.
It's actually more futuristic than, with the plate, the metal face plate, and that design is kind of spacey to me.
Yeah.
Such a departure from some of their other IEMs.
Oh, yeah, but they always go for bold, striking looks.
They do. Now, I can't think of all their models offhand, but I can't remember another model that looks like this.
I can't think of any that looks similar, no.
Yeah. So, all right. So, very unique looking IEM as well. I guess that shouldn't be surprising, given it's their 10th anniversary celebration IEM. Now, as far as sound goes, there was another IEM that I really liked from Aroma Audio called the FATfreq.
Oh, yeah, a lot of headfires like that.
Yes, and a lot of like the high-end IEM aficionados love that one. Now, the thing I loved about the FATfreq was that it pushed at the upper end of my treble limit, one of those.
Right.
But that didn't cross it. And I love the detail that it had. It also, to the best of my recollection, because we don't have a FATfreq here now to listen to, but to the best of my recollection, it was also one I considered more neutral through the bass, like not bass emphasized. And this, the Aroma Audio Core, doesn't sound like a FATfreq.
Right.
But that description of it that I just gave also applies to this. I don't find it to be a bass-heavy IEM, but it's also not bass-light.
Right.
Kind of hits down the middle of my preference range, maybe on the lower side to my ears.
Yeah.
The treble is also, again, at the upper range of my limits and very detailed, but doesn't cross it. But it's a different presentation than the FATfreq. I wish I had it here to do a direct comparison, but I quite enjoyed these, and I think a lot of people at CanJam are really going to enjoy these. What did you think of these?
Oh, I think, to me, they had a natural sound. I quite liked it.
Yeah.
But I did kind of think back, and there was another Aroma Audio IEM that I would probably still lean towards just from sonic memory. That's the Jewel. And the Jewel is kind of characterized by, like, detail and clarity and resolution, and those are the things that always stood out to me when I was listening to it back then. So I kind of feel like that'd be what I would lean towards, but I do know that a number of headfires found it to be too much.
Right.
And this is going to be something that they are definitely going to want to check out.
I agree. So this, again, is the 10th anniversary commemorative IEM from Aroma Audio. Ultra flagship IEM from them, and it will be at CanJam. Make sure to not miss the Core.
Now, of course, that's nowhere near a comprehensive list of IEMs and accessories at CanJam Dallas. For example, Bloom Audio will have new releases from Effect Audio, Fur Audio, and MOONDROP. FATfreq will be exhibiting their latest collaboration IEM, the FATfreq and Effect Audio Quantum, and HEDDs will be showing their latest collaboration piece, the MK12 Duckbloke Edition. And of course, MusicTeck will have more new releases, including recent launches from Brise Audio, Elitech, and Elysian Acoustic Labs.
Now, this might be the single smallest product in this whole CanJam preview video.
Yeah, it might.
I'm not talking about my phone. Obviously, that's not the smallest thing. But the thing that's attached to it, which I'm actually a lot more excited about than I thought I'd be. It's a Sennheiser BTD 700, which will be at CanJam.
Yeah.
So let's explain what it is. The Sennheiser BTD 700 is a tiny Bluetooth USB dongle. It's USB-C, but it comes with a stackable USB-A adapter. Here's what they say about it. Sennheiser says the BTD 700 Bluetooth USB dongle is a next-generation adapter designed to deliver high-definition, low-latency wireless audio featuring aptX lossless and Auracast technology. It transforms how you experience music, gaming, and calls. It uses Bluetooth 5.4, and it supports SBC, aptX, aptX adaptive, aptX lossless, and LC3. Now, that's why this is a big deal to me, because I am primarily an iPhone user.
Yeah.
And so every time we get an aptX-enabled wireless headphone in, and I want to listen to it with aptX, I have to pull out my Android phone, which I also have. But I am primarily an iPhone user. This, okay, for those who don't know, if you're an Android user, iPhones don't have aptX.
Right.
And so now I do with the BTD 700, which I'm quite excited about. I want to talk really quickly about Auracast, because I mentioned that. So Auracast multi-streaming, that allows you to connect multiple headphones or speakers to a single source for shared listening. And this has it. There's also a game mode with the BTD 700 that gets you latency as low as 30 milliseconds. So you're a gamer.
I am.
That's low latency, correct? Yeah. Okay. Plug and play. Just plugged it in. It works. Driver-free operation, customization and updates available via the Sennheiser dongle control app. And it's $59.95.
Yeah.
So that's pretty darn cool. So it works with, of course, Sennheiser wireless headphones, like the Sennheiser Momentum 4 wireless. This cool one is...
Yeah, the 80th anniversary
This
edition.
is the 80th anniversary edition, which I think is very cool.
Yeah.
It makes me happy. I love the way it looks. And it works with that. But I wanted to try it with other headphones as well. So I got the Focal Batiste MG and was able to pair it with that easily. Happened very quickly with my iPhone, which was nice. Now I'm using aptX on my iPhone with the Batiste, which was nice. And what was also nice was I verified it using the app, the Focal app. Once I switched over, I could see that it was in aptX mode, which I thought was also very cool. So this is a simple product.
Yeah.
And it's going to be at CanJam. If you're an iPhone user especially, it's quite exciting. But you can also plug it into your computer. It's not just for phones. You can plug it into your computer, your tablet. It's very, very cool. BTD 700 by Sennheiser. Make sure to check it out. This is the Astell&Kern A&N Ultima SP4000. This is Astell&Kern's latest flagship digital audio player. I am wildly in love with it. I'm going to explain why shortly. So I want to tell a quick story. I go to CanJam Shanghai 2025, and this had been announced, but it wasn't released yet at the time of the show. So I decide, because we got one early, to load it up with music, bring it to the show, just for my own personal use so I could audition IEMs and headphones with it.
Right.
I didn't think anybody would notice it because it looks so much like an SP3000 at first blush. I was so wrong. So within minutes of the show starting, I'm at an IEM manufacturer's exhibit, and some sharp-eyed headfire sees it and says, "Is that an SP4000?" I was like, oh, totally surprised. I was like, yeah, it is. And he's like, "Can I try it?" So I pass it across the exhibit to him. He listens to it, and within minutes, there are like 6 or 7 other guys passing it around to each other, and it took me like an hour and a half to get it back from those dudes.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch, though. They were so enthusiastic about it. But my point of bringing that up is this played out several more times during that CanJam Shanghai weekend. People found out I had it. They wanted to hear it. So I spent a lot of time at that show letting people audition the SP4000. And to a person, every single person that gave me feedback about it, that heard it, loved it, as do I. I'll talk more about why in a minute. Let's talk about what's different about it. So inside the SP4000, you'll find the AKM AK4191, AK4499EX combo.
Yep.
We've seen that combo before. What we haven't seen until the SP4000 is 4 of each of them in what Astell&Kern calls a real quad DAC configuration. It's the only such, I think it's the only device using that configuration right now.
Yeah, I can't think of any others.
I can't think of any either. The body is stainless steel, made of 904L stainless steel. It's a high-end stainless steel used like in very expensive watches.
And it's beautiful.
It is gorgeous. And they've used it before.
Yeah.
But what they've done here is they've softened the corners.
I love that so much.
The edges. Yeah, I agree. It looks more liquid and it's more comfortable in the hand.
Yes.
There's a 6-inch 2K display, 2160 by 1080 resolution.
And it's beautiful.
It's also big.
Yeah.
That's a big display for a digital audio player. Storage, 256 gigs built in with micro SD card expansion, of course. Bluetooth with all the high-res codecs I'd expect. The next feature I just want to introduce more than just talk about.
Sure.
Astell&Kern enthusiasts are familiar with that screen.
Right.
They're less familiar with that screen.
Yeah.
The Astell&Kern SP4000 is the first Astell&Kern device to support full open Android OS. Open Android, guys. We've been asking for this for a long time from Astell&Kern. We finally got it, and they've done it right. As you'd expect from Astell&Kern, they are bypassing any sample rate conversion limitations that Android can impart, so they've done it right. So we're good there. 10 hours of runtime from a 6,780 milliamp hour lithium polymer battery.
It's a big battery.
It's a huge battery. It needs it.
Yeah, it does.
For all the features I'm about to describe, and most specifically, there is something with the SP4000 I think that is very important called high driving mode. So the SP4000 features twice as many op amps arranged in parallel compared to previous models, which would have half the op amps arranged in series. As I understand it, this gives it quite a bit more current drive. Probably why we need that big old battery. Now, as far as the battery life goes, by the way, I get you can watch it in high driving mode, that battery life dwindle.
Yeah.
But it's enough battery that I have no issues in my typical use cases. I haven't run out of battery yet, but I do have to charge it at the end of a day of use. The SP4000 also has something called Advanced DAR. That's their second generation digital audio remaster technology. It's a new 2-stage higher end version of digital audio remaster. I think that's important to it. ESA technology is something that they've incorporated that eliminates group delay or reduces group delay. They say eliminates it. The SP4000 incorporates a newly implemented LDO, low dropout regulator, that reduces noise by up to 97% compared to previous models. that's saying something, given that Astell&Kern players are pretty dead quiet in terms of self-noise.
Yeah.
I guess the SP4000 is dead quieter.
I guess so.
For the first time in Astell&Kern's lineup, the SP4000 employs a precision-engineered shield can made from 99.9% pure copper. Okay, there's a whole bunch of other improvements, but here's my point. They have put so much into this player that it is the biggest leap in a generation that they've had, in my opinion, and to my ears, and just based on the feedback, since like the AK240 a zillion years ago. What does it sound like? It sounds more like a desktop rig. Solidity, beautiful imaging, richness, resolution, all the things that I would expect from a really outstanding desktop rig in this. For anything that I would drive with a portable digital audio player, it's the best sounding digital audio player I've heard so far.
Yeah.
It's that good. It's a big deal. And even with some things I wouldn't normally drive with a portable player, like the Meze Audio Elite, drives it beautifully. I've been using it a lot with the SP4000. Tried the OG Susvara.
Really?
Unbelievably. Drives it. Wouldn't be my first choice for it, but the Susvara unveiled. Okay, we're talking. Utopia 2022, the ZMF Atrium. All right. Those are all things I don't usually drive a lot with a portable digital audio player. What do I usually use? IEMs. Even the most demanding IEMs should be no issue for the high driving mode of the SP4000. And with the really sensitive in-ears, like one of my references is a Visioneers VE10, very sensitive in-ear, I still use high driving mode with that, even though it's really sensitive. And it just sounds better in that mode. And of course, it's dead quiet. This is probably going to be immensely popular. And I know it'll be immensely popular. CanJam, there'll probably be a lineup to hear it. I think it'll end up being the most popular, best-selling, flagship class, flagship price digital audio player we've seen to date. It is that good.
Now, I have no doubt that the A&D Ultima SP4000 is going to be incredibly popular at CanJam, but there's another DAP that I want to mention because I don't think this should be lost in the SP4000's shadow.
I agree completely.
Yeah, this is the Astell&Kern PD10. Now, the PD10 is not part of any other line of Astell&Kern, but it is part of the Astell&Kern family. It's kind of like the Con in that regard.
Right.
It's its own thing. Inside of this, there are 4 of AKM's AK4498EX DACs and 2 of the AK4191 EQs. Now, when this launched, Astell&Kern says that it was the world's first application of the AK4498EX in a digital audio player. And I love that because Astell&Kern, they're one of those companies that like to be at the forefront of DAC technology, and they incorporate them into their digital audio players, their flagship class players, and they do it well.
Yeah, and they often do it first.
Yeah, it's fantastic how they did that. They've also done something else that I think might be a first inside of this. This has an impedance adaptive dual amplification system. Now, I'm going to need to explain this because there are 2 amplification circuits inside, a normal gain circuit and a high gain circuit. Well, why would they split those up like that? Well, let me give you the answer in their words. Astell&Kern says that the normal gain amp reproduces delicate details and high purity sound quality, expressing the original sound faithfully. And for the high gain amp, it's specialized in handling complex and dynamic sounds, expressing audio signals more vividly and clearly. Basically, that one is specifically voiced for high impedance, high gain, driving, demanding headphones. Now, you've mentioned before that you actually listen to a lot of stuff in that high gain mode.
I did.
I do want to mention it is very quiet. So even if you're listening to IEMs, you're not going to run into an issue in the high gain mode.
Yeah, I gravitated to that mode.
And if you like that sound more, just stick with the high gain mode. But if you want to swap back and forth, you can do that manually, or they have what's called smart gain, which is basically an automatic amplifier matching mode. You plug in your headphones into the PD10 and it instantly checks the impedance upon plugging in your earphones or headphones, automatically setting the appropriate amp, which I think is very cool. If you're not really interested in just messing around in menus all the time and you just want to pop one out, pop in a headphone, it'll change for you. It also has independent dual audio circuits for unbalanced and balanced outputs. There's so much going on the amplifier side of this that it's amazing they fit it all into a digital audio player that's this size. It does have a nice big 6-inch screen that's a touch screen, 2160 by 1080 resolution, and it's all within a lovely stainless steel body. But the body, it's kind of unorthodox for me because when I think flagship class Astell&Kern players, I think of knobs, I think of dials.
Angles.
Yeah, there are no knobs or dials on this at all, and it's very rectangular.
Yeah.
It's all button-based for the UI, and I actually kind of dig that it's a bit different.
I actually love the design, and it's very sleek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stands out on its own. It has a built-in memory. You get 256 gigabytes of storage built right into it. You can expand via microSD to, I think, 2 terabytes, if I'm not mistaken. It has a massive battery, 5,770 milliamp, 3.8 volt lithium polymer battery, which Astell&Kern says delivers a battery life up to 15 hours. And when you think about Astell&Kern's players, that's rather generous. I can't think of too many that have that kind of battery life from them.
That's pretty generous for any DAW.
Yeah, it really is. There's something else that's included in this bundle that I want to mention as well. On the table here, we have a dock. This cradle is included with the PD10. So you get a desktop, basically a desktop charger, but it also has dual 3-pin XLR in the rear. So if you want to incorporate this into a desktop system or into a 2-channel system, you can take this with you on the road, come home, plug it in, it starts charging, and now it's the DAC for your audio system.
Yeah, I think that's very cool.
I love that they include it. It's not an optional extra. So you're probably thinking already, this is probably going to break the bank. It's not cheap, but it's only $2,500. So when you think about everything you're getting, a flagship class digital audio player from Astell&Kern, a dedicated dock, and some really cool amplification circuitry and design in this player, the SP4000 is going to have a line, so why not start here?
That's the Schiit Asgard X. It has a very special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Not just because it sounds fantastic, which it does. We'll get to that shortly, but because it was announced right around the time, maybe at the exact same time that Schiit was celebrating its 15th anniversary.
Right.
Which brings me to a story, a short story, I promise, that I have to tell. A story that takes us all the way back to literally day one of Schiit, the day they announced the company. They put a piece out on the news wires. I happened to pick up on it. I call Schiit immediately. I talked to Jason Stoddard, who by now all of you know who he is. He's an immense celebrity in our community, one of the founders of Schiit. I talked to Jason, and I asked him a zillion questions about how on earth they're making affordable products in the U.S., because they were very affordably priced.
Right.
He answers my zillion questions. We talk about their products. I end up ordering right then and there the first Schiit Asgard. And I think that would make me one of their first customers.
Probably.
I wonder if I was their first customer. We'll have to find that out. Anyway, he talks about this in his book, Schiit Happened. So Jason Stoddard has an outstanding book called Schiit Happened. If you're starting a business, it's a fantastic book to read. If you're just looking for any good book, Schiit Happened is a fantastic book. But anyways, he talks about it in there, which I thought was pretty cool. So I guess I should get to the Schiit Asgard X.
Yeah.
I still have that first Asgard, by the way. But the Schiit Asgard X, I need to tell you about this, has come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what it is. The Schiit Asgard X is a no-feedback JFET input discrete Class A amp. It outputs up to 3.4 watts into 16 ohms, and they say it's the first amp with Schiit Class A version of continuity. They call it Continuity A. And they say Continuity A means that both NPN and PNP devices are conducting on both positive and negative rails, something that push-pull Class A amps can't even claim. Fantastic amp, by the way. It has 6.35 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter outputs, and on the 4.4 millimeter output, it has Schiit Halo X. And here's what they say about it. Halo X is an extension of their Halo mixed mode feedback system introduced on Midgard. Now, that Midgard is their $220 dedicated headphone amp that, despite its affordability, happens to be one of my reference amps. Right. Love the Midgard. Anyway, they say of Halo X, this allows you to include the headphone driver in Asgard X's feedback loop without it having any feedback itself. Again, phenomenal amp. Now, the Asgard X starts at $399. Mm-hmm. It's available in black or silver finish, as most Schiit products are. And at $399, this amp is such an incredible value for how it performs, how it sounds. Beautifully musical, very resolving, powerful.
Yeah.
Again, up to 3.4 watts into 16 ohms. But if you're not already married to your DAC, there is an optional mesh DAC module, or if you're looking to upgrade your DAC, fantastic DAC, their mesh DAC. And they say the mesh DAC, the mesh card combines the best of our own research and development with an excellent Delta Sigma output stage for incredible sound you won't get anywhere else. And it is a fantastic sounding DAC, resolving but musical, just like the amp. Now, with that mesh DAC module, you also get Forkbeard. And with Forkbeard, you get a 3-band parametric EQ, which I love having EQ. You get balance controls, loudness, and volume, as well as additional DAC features like non-oversampling mode and absolute phase switching. So it adds value, and that's $549 with Mesh DAC and Forkbeard. What a fantastic system. So I'll say it again. I think getting them together makes the most sense unless you are absolutely married to your current DAC. Mm-hmm. But I still can't believe this many years later, I'm still thinking that same way I thought the first day I talked to Jason Stoddard. How do they make this stuff in the U.S. and make this stuff so affordable?
Right.
Fantastic product. At CanJam, you have to check out the Asgard X. Now, I've said before how the Schiit Midgard, which is a headphone amplifier. Actually, it's the black component on the table right now. I've said before how it was one of the best value anythings in all of HeadFi. Now, it's been out for a while.
Right.
So do I still feel the same? Yes. It is still one of the best value anythings in all of HeadFi. Phenomenal headphone amplifier, and it's like $220.
Yep.
So what is it? It's a balanced headphone amp and preamp. It uses Schiit Audio's Halo topology. I'll say more about that in a second. It outputs up to 4.8 watts RMS into 32 ohms. It's designed and built in Schiit Audio's new Texas facilities. It's, again, $220. And some quotes from Jason Stoddard from Schiit Audio. Midgard is simply the best measuring, highest powered, discrete headphone amp we've ever made. But that's not all. Midgard's new Halo topology also offers the potential for higher performance where it matters, at your ears. So about Halo, he says it's a mixed mode feedback topology that incorporates your headphone driver into the feedback loop, offering the potential for better control at driver resonance and improved acoustic results. So all I'll say is it sounds phenomenal.
Right.
And it's dead quiet with my most sensitive in-ears, but has the drive to drive just about any headphone I'd want to drive with it. It is, as I've said before, it's one of those amps I'd call a reviewer's amp, and I love it. So the Midgard, to me, is still, to this day, a can't miss a CanJam. Now, also on the table, underneath the Midgard, is the Schiit Audio Mimir, which I also think is one of the best value anythings in all of HeadFi.
Yeah.
And it's a DAC. Specifically, it's a Schiit Audio balanced mesh DAC. And of that mesh technology, the Schiit mesh technology, Schiit says, Schiit mesh is a unique combination of our time and frequency domain optimized digital filter and a standard Delta Sigma modulator. And we'll say a little bit more about that later. So the Mimir has USB-C input using Schiit's Unison 384 USB input that supports up to 32384. It has optical coax and AES inputs, stereo RCA and balanced XLR outputs. It comes in black or silver. As you can see, I couldn't choose just one. My Midgard is black. I chose the silver Mimir. I love the way they look as a mixed system, and I also wanted to show you guys both colors. I think they both look cool. Now, it starts at $299, which I cannot believe, given the performance, how it sounds. But there is a $349 version, which is what we have, and that is the Schiit Audio Mimir with Schiit Audio's Forkbeard technology. Now, I won't get into any details about Forkbeard here, other than to say it enables additional functionality on Mimir, which I'm going to talk about just now. But if you want to learn more about Forkbeard, make sure to check out Jason Stoddard's blog on HeadFi, Shit Happened, and you can learn a lot about Forkbeard there on their website. Okay, so in this case, with the Mimir, Schiit Audio's Forkbeard turns it into not just a balanced mesh DAC, but a balanced mesh DAC, EQ, and preamp DAC. Specifically, you can adjust volume, change stereo balance, and apply parametric EQ using the Forkbeard app. EQ for me is actually quite important because depending on the headphone I listen to, there are some that I definitely want to EQ. I love having that option through Forkbeard. Their volume control uses Schiit's own algorithm for excellent performance down to very low volume levels. I can confirm that. They say you can connect Mimir straight into an amp and have a full digital preamp system as long as you're good with controlling it via Forkbeard, which I think is cool. Now, Forkbeard also gives you additional DAC controls like absolute phase inversion, which is important for some people, some recordings. And then you can choose between mesh and NOS mode. So NOS mode is non-oversampling. If I had to choose one, I'm going with mesh because to my ears, it is more resolving, and imaging-wise, it's a bit more holographic. But the non-oversampling mode to my ears is a bit more relaxed. I think some people are going to describe it as more analog sounding. I don't know if that I would go with that, but I bet you people will say that about it, and I can see why. If I had to choose one again, I'd choose mesh, but since I have the Forkbeard option, I have both, and I love having both. And now you can choose it. So easy to do. Now, they say that Forkbeard capabilities may change over time, so make sure to pay attention to their announcements on HeadFi, on their website, on their mailing list. And as a system now, I want to say, this is $349 for the Mimir. Yep. $220 for the amp, and it's one of my reference systems. It is so resolving, but so musical. I hate using just musical because it's such a generic term, but I think you guys know where I'm going. It's never strident, but it's extremely resolving. And it's one of my reference systems that just happens to be quite affordable. And it's small footprint. And as you know, I have one decent-sized desk and a lot of smaller desks. And this fits on any of them. And for that, I love it. So if you want to hear one of my reasonably priced reference systems at CanJam, you're looking at it.
This is something we don't really see a lot of anymore. It is a dedicated portable headphone amplifier.
So no DAC.
No DAC whatsoever. It's the Brise Audio Watatsumi, and I know a lot of Headfire's ears just perked up because Brise Audio, yeah, you know that there's going to be a lot of high-end, high-quality audiophile components inside of this, and they did not disappoint. Now, the amplifier inside is a pure analog balanced portable amplifier with a low distortion current feedback amplifier design. Now, Brise says that it eliminates input and output coupling capacitors by using dual power supplies and a DC servo. It has pure silver internal wiring all throughout, and they even say that the internal high-quality sound processing is optimized for pure silver wire specifically. It's equipped with the Muse's 72320 high-quality electronic volume chip, which is a very high-grade electronic volume management chip, and it incorporates several circuit technologies developed for the Brise Audio Fugaku. We both really enjoyed the Fugaku.
Yes, we did.
Quite a bit. The chassis incorporates forged carbon, which we love. It's right up here on the front, and it even has ultra suede as well. It provides balanced outputs even for unbalanced input signals, and I think that is very interesting because if you look at the inputs and outputs here, there's three. You have a 4.4 millimeter output and a 4.4 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter input. So again, on that balanced output, you can get that balanced output signal even when using a single-ended input. It delivers up to 8 hours of continuous playback, so quite a lot of juice. Now, it is kind of large, but it does a great job maintaining that great battery life pretty much all day for most listening situations. Now, when you compare it to the Brise Audio Tsuranagi, the V2 specifically, this has a maximum output at 16 ohms. It has been increased up to 2,000 milliwatts per channel, so it's stronger than the Tsuranagi V2 was. It has a THD plus N reduced to 1/3 of the V2, and it has residual noise cut in half. Now, it's Brise Audio. It's not going to be inexpensive. It's a $5,000 USD roughly amplifier. However, I paired it here in the office. I actually ran it off a couple different sources, and I specifically reached for one that had really low power output, but a really good DAC inside of it. This made that thing sing. So at CanJam, if you're really looking to up your portable game, specifically looking for an amplifier-only type setup, this is one you have to check out.
Now, as you well know, and now you're going to know, on the table is one of my most prized audio possessions.
Yep.
That's the ZMFheadphones Aegis tube amplifier, and that is, it's as pure a tube amplifier as they come, essentially. There's no silicon in the circuit.
Right.
So as they describe it, it's an old school tube amplifier design featuring Lundahl transformers and chokes. Now, I picked it up for the sound, but there is another aspect to this that adds charm to what it is. And that's the fact that it was designed by a HeadFi DIY community member who goes by Lord Gwyn. Not on his birth certificate. His real name is Keenan McKnight. And Keenan has become somewhat of a celebrity in my head because whenever I listen to the Aegis, you know, this guy designed one of my favorite amps, which I think is very cool.
Yeah.
And he's a HeadFi community member. That's really neat. So let's talk about what it is. It's a single-ended tube amplifier. It's built around, as I mentioned, DIY plans from Lord Gwyn. It's a tube roller's dream. I'm not much of a tube roller anymore. I used to be when I was younger. Maybe I should try experimenting again. So for the rectifier tube, you have 5-volt 2-amp types. GZ34 5AR4, 5V4 GZ32, 5R4 274B. So there are a lot of rolling options there. For the input tubes, pair of 6SL7s, and they have to be 6SL7s, but there's still rolling options. You can try any number of different 6SL7s.
Right.
On the output tubes, pair of power pentodes, 6V6, 6L6, EL34, EL37, KT66, KT77, KT88, 6550. As I'm rattling all that off, I'm thinking I really should try tube rolling again. Zach was kind enough to include some bonus tubes when we ordered it, and I definitely need to roll more. Again, it's a tube rectified design. There are high and low output impedance toggles, so it gives you more flexibility with different kinds of headphones, and I would suggest using it mostly, if not entirely, with over-ear headphones.
Right.
I guess if you have some less sensitive in-ears, you can venture it. I don't turn to the Aegis for in-ears. I use it strictly for over-ear headphones. So let's talk about why I love it so much. Because it's a tube amp and sounds the part. And I've said this a million times before in different preview videos, but a great tube amp, which I consider the Aegis to be, can give a more realistic presentation, harmonic richness, solid, meaty sonic image objects within a holographic soundstage. For these things, I find them to sound more transparent in a way, or more resolving than a lot of my favorite solid-state amps. And I know that from a traditional measured standpoint, it's not going to measure as transparently as state-of-the-art solid-state amps.
Right.
But from what I hear, I mean, it sounds more resolving and more real because it gets me closer to the music. I feel like there's less between me and the music.
Yeah.
And the performance. And so, I mean, by my definition, that sounds more resolving.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Aegis at CanJam is something you must audition. If you're a tube amp enthusiast already, then it's a no-brainer if you haven't already heard it. And even if you're not, I think the Aegis is the type of amp that could convert a lot of people who haven't previously really adopted or engaged in tube amp goodness.
Yeah.
So, and at CanJam, when you audition it, know that you will be listening to one of my most prized audio possessions.
This is the FiiO M21. It's not the JM21. I'll talk about that here in a moment. This is the M21. It is the entry-level model in FiiO's flagship FiiO family of products, the JM21s in their Jade Audio line. Now, the M21, inside of this, it has a quad CS43198 matrix DAC, and this is a fully balanced architecture all the way through. You get 3.5mm and 4.4mm outputs, and for power, you're going to get up to 950 milliwatts when you're running out of that balanced 4.4mm
that's
connection.
Actually quite a bit of drive for such a small.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's also running an 8-core, 6nm Snapdragon 680 processor, so it's reasonably snappy. It has Android 13, has a dual power supply, which I think is very cool because you have a dedicated USB-C input for power, which means you can run desktop mode. Now, for those that know, desktop mode is typically something we see in FiiO's flagship class digital audio players. It's nice to see something like that in something as affordable as this. It's a really, really cool feature.
I agree.
It has a 4.7-inch display, which in my opinion is the right size for a DAP.
Yeah, you like smaller DAPs.
Yeah.
I tend to gravitate toward the larger DAPs, but you do like them on the smaller side.
You like 6-inch DAPs. I like the 4.5, 4.7-inch range. It's a wonderful size, perfect in the hand and the pocket. It also has a really cool optional cassette-style protective case. It's a very cool retro look. You pop this in there, it's got a little cassette dial and buttons up top. I think it's really, really
neat.
As
old as I am, I find that actually very cute and charming.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's under $50. Now, speaking of price, I do want to mention that this right around $300. So you're getting a lot of value. But I mentioned that JM21 earlier, and people would think, well, the JM21 is less expensive than the M21. So what really are we getting for differences? So the FiiO M21 compared to the Jade Audio FiiO JM21, they both share the same processor and the same operating system, but the M21 has more memory. So the JM21 has 3 gigabytes of memory. The M21 has 4 gigabytes of memory. There's more DACs inside the M21, so it's a dual DAC design in the JM21. It's a quad DAC design in the M21. And because this is a physically larger unit, you get more battery inside, which means more battery life. And in my opinion, when you can get more battery life at the trade-off of a little thickness, I'm usually going to go for it. It's, especially in a digital audio player when I'm on the road, wonderful to have that battery life. Now, that $300 price point, you might think, I'm going to pair this only with budget-friendly things. No, don't do that. Pair it with everything.
Right.
So I've paired this with high-end, very expensive IEMs, and when you think about the $300 price point, I got to say, I was actually blown away.
I'm not surprised. FiiO's engineering capabilities are incredible. I visited their lab several years ago. They've since updated it. But the engineering capabilities, the test and measurement facilities they had there were incredible.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's an incredible company when it comes to engineering and engineering value into gear.
Yep.
And I think the M21 is just another example of that.
It definitely is. So if you're on a budget this CanJam and you're looking for something, or even if you're not on a budget and you just want to see what's out there, the M21, you got to check this out.
After this player arrived, this is the iBasso DX340 portable digital audio player, by the way. After the DX340 arrived, I was trying to remember when the last time was that we had one of their flagship players come through here at HeadFi HQ.
Oh, it's been a while.
I mean, maybe years.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
Shame on us, because this thing is fantastic.
Yes.
And every experience I've had with their flagship DAPs in the past has been fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so the DX340, this is one of those players that I think in this day and age shines.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is there seems to be an increased focus on the portable digital audio players with a lot of output.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think there seems to be more commonly IEMs these days that are not easy to drive.
That's true.
There's still a lot of easy to drive IEMs, but I'm saying there's some like the Subtonic Storm where people are looking for high output DAPs. I would say this fits the bill.
Yes.
And as flagship DAPs go, I would say it's reasonably priced.
Yeah.
And as flagship DAPs go, it is beautifully built. I want to talk about that real quick, by the way. The chassis is gorgeous.
Yes.
Right now we have the leather cover on it, which is also gorgeous. There's like machined perforated metal on the back, probably for ventilation.
Yeah.
But if you take this off, I think it looks even better. But I can understand why you'd want to protect it.
Yes.
The chassis is gorgeous. So do we have photos of it without the cover?
Oh, yeah. I've got photos of it undressed.
Oh, good. Because it looks beautiful.
It does.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the DX340, what it is. The DAC section of the DX340 is built around a 1-bit structured discrete DAC. And that consists of 16 sets of cascaded 8E PWM DACs. That's pulse width modulation DACs.
Yeah, that sounds complex.
It does. So if you go to their website, iBasso's website, I was trying to look at the description of the DAC architecture to see if I could summarize it easily for this segment. No such luck. So make sure to go to their website because it's actually interesting reading on the DX340.
Yes.
The amp section outputs up to 2150 milliwatts into 32 ohms. Like I said, a lot of output. Now that's using the super gain mode that requires the DC power supply. So even without the DC power supply, though, still a lot of output.
Oh, yeah.
And again, everything I've wanted to drive with it, I've been able to drive with it. So I'll get back to that. It runs Android 13 or Mango OS. A Qualcomm Snapdragon 665 SoC.
Nice and snappy.
Very snappy. That matters a lot to us.
Oh, yes.
We've complained. I mean, one of our chief complaints about older DAPs, which is, these faster ones are becoming more common. But the older DAPs, some of them had a lot of lag.
Yeah.
This one does not. Let's be clear. That's snappy. 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of memory, micro SD expansion up to 2 terabytes. And that's kind of how I roll. I'll usually run a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte micro SD card. 6-inch 1080p AMOLED display.
Yeah.
Which is gorgeous.
It is a beautiful display.
It's so bright, you actually asked me to turn it down a little bit.
I did.
For the shoot.
Yeah.
I hope it shows up on camera. That is an absolutely beautiful screen. What album is that, by the way? Cat Power, In Your Face. Good album. 6-inch 1080p AMOLED display. Dual battery structure.
Yes. So the dual battery structure, it basically just means that you have a single battery for the analog, single battery for the digital, and I love separation like that in any device.
I do too. I should have known what that meant. You saw the look and confusion on my face and answered, but I should have known what that meant. And again, beautiful chassis, 316 stainless steel chassis with user removable back cover because it has swappable amp modules.
Yes. It comes default with the amp 15 module, and there are other swappable modules available as well.
Oh, that's good to know. So again, with this with the DX340, there just hasn't been anything that I would ever think to plug into a DAP that I haven't been able to drive beautifully with it.
Exactly.
It is a very articulate, detailed sounding DAP to my ears.
Yeah.
But not in any way harsh. It's a beautiful sounding DAP with a lot of drive. And I think it is this on the flagship side of things, again, is reasonably priced. But it's built as beautifully as any of them. And it performs, in my opinion. So no matter what you're shopping for, no matter what price point you're shopping for, the iBasso DX340 at CanJam, you definitely want to try.
So I have to say I was kind of excited when this arrived for the CanJam preview video because this is something that's been talked about on the forums quite a bit lately, and it's been receiving a lot of love. Now, I understand why. This is the KN-RU9. Now, the RU9 is a portable tube DAC amplifier. It has a 4-channel balanced amplifier inside, and it's featuring KN's Gen 5 new tube timbre circuit. That's based around the Korg new tube 6P1. It has switchable timbres, which we've seen in a couple other KN products. So it has two tube modes. You have a classic mode and a modern tube mode, and it also has a 1 solid state timbre mode. It has triple power modes. So for example, you can power it from the internal battery, you can power it from your device like your phone or a laptop, and then you can also power it from DC power directly from a wall outlet. It also features hyper mode. So when you are connected to DC mode, it will deliver up to 1170 milliwatts per channel into 16 ohms.
Wow.
It does support Power Delivery 2.0 and Quick Charge 3.0 as well, which is always appreciated for any device that has its own built-in battery. The DAC inside is the dual AKM AK4493 SEQ DAC system, and that's also matched with the XMOS XU316. Supports PCM up to 32768 and DSD512. For inputs, you're looking at USB-C, SPDIF, and Bluetooth 5.1. I've primarily been using this for the most part in Bluetooth mode because it's so convenient. I'll come back to that in a minute. But codec-wise, you're looking at SBC, AAC, aptX, aptX HD, aptX LL, and LDAC. You have a 3.5 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter output that does both line out and phone out, so I like the dual functionality there. The chassis is CNC machined aluminum alloy, sorry. It's a magnetic attachment chassis, and I'll talk about that also in a second here, but it is compatible with several mobile devices and cases straight out of the box. It has a 0.96-inch display on the front. It has a really nice knurled volume knob. You get some cool accessories. So, for example, you get this accessory right here, which is also magnetically attached. So that's magnetically attached to my iPhone because it is MagSafe compatible. And also in the box, you get a little ring adapter. So if you have a device that doesn't support the, I believe, Qi 2 standard or MagSafe, you can attach that to your device and still get that magnetic attachment. It's only 159 grams, so it's not adding a ton of weight to your phone when you put it in your pocket, and it's only 15 millimeters thick. So as you can see, it's not really, I mean, it's doubling the size, but it's still not a brick of a device at that point. Now, I've been using this primarily with in-ear monitors because for me, it's been an on-the-go device. So one of the things that I love is I can take my phone out of my pocket and I can just magnetically detach this, set it on the desk or whatever surface I'm working on as I'm heading out the door, pop it magnetically onto the back of my phone, get out and about. It really helps me avoid interruptions. I don't have to worry about grabbing the DAP separately from my phone. A lot of times they're already attached magnetically, which is great. Sounds phenomenal with the number of IEMs that I've listened to it. It also has a good amount of power when you're running in that, what do they call it again? The hyper mode. When it's in hyper mode, you can run a number of full-size headphones off this thing without running into issues. And because you're running on DC power, you're also not draining the battery, which is really nice. And I also love when I don't drain my phone to power my mobile device. So you've got, you know, your direct device power mode, but I like running it off its own internal battery. So, you know, KN-RU9, a lot of guys are raving about it. Check the forums and see why for sure, because they have a lot of great comparisons, and then see why for yourself at CanJam.
Now, as the founder of HeadFi, one might hope that I actually love headphone audio.
Sure.
And I do, as you know, love headphone audio, but even the most diehard headphone enthusiast, and I consider myself among them, has to admit that loudspeakers image better than headphones.
Right.
Headphones are great for inner detail. And,
yeah.
Yeah, but and they can image well, but loudspeakers image better. That is, take a recording, play it through a fantastic loudspeaker system, take that same recording, play it through a fantastic headphone system, the loudspeaker will win in terms of imaging pretty much every time.
Right.
Why? Headphones introduce a bit of a problem, if you will. The right ear only hears the right channel, left ear only hears the left channel. With loudspeakers, your left ear still hears the right channel, albeit a little delayed. The right ear still hears the left channel, albeit a little delayed. Those tiny little delays, measured in milliseconds typically, because the human hearing system is so sensitive, the brain is such an incredible thing.
Right.
All those little differences mean a great deal. And I'm simplifying this grossly. That's the reason, effectively, that headphones don't sound as natural imaging. And the more exaggerated the stereo, the more exaggerated the left is to the left, the right is to the right, then the less natural it'll be with headphones. This is my very long-winded way of introducing this phenomenal piece of gear on the table. It's an Italian masterpiece. It's called the Audma Maestro HPA-1. It was invented by a gentleman named Cesare Mattoli. So he's a genius as far as I'm concerned, because he's come closer to solving that problem than anybody I've come across yet. It's called ELISA, the technology inside the Maestro HPA-1. It stands for what does it stand for again? Oh, Electronic Loudspeaker Imaging Simulating Amplifier. It's simple to use. I don't even know exactly what all it's doing, but clearly the timing, there's a lot going on in there.
Oh yeah,
because so many different solutions have come up to try to solve it, but yet nothing's done it as well as this that I've heard. All right, there's 3 knobs effectively. You turn one to turn it on or off. The second knob is called ELISA Stage. That adjusts the essentially the intensity of the effect. Then there's ELISA Angle, which adjusts the angle of the placement of the virtual speakers relative to the listener. Simply put, turn it more, it will widen the image. Turn it less, and it'll not widen it as much.
Yeah.
But in any case, no matter how I adjust it, essentially, I get a more natural image with so far with pretty much every stereo recording I've used through it. And the more exaggerated the stereo, the more I need it.
Right.
And I would love to have that in my system full time, but there are 2 little problems with it.
Sure.
Number one, it's expensive.
Yeah, I think it's $9,600 US.
$9,600 US. And then it's also bigger as a full rack size component than is ideal for my desk. That said, it's so good that I've gladly made the space on I pushed things off my desk to use it. It's that good.
Right.
And it's not just ELISA, by the way. At CanJam Dallas 2024 and CanJam SoCal 2024, this was a huge hit.
It was.
Because it was at both of those CanJams, and everybody was talking about all the high-end guys were loving it. The guys from Water Cooler were loving it for just as a headphone amplifier.
Yeah.
With or without ELIZA.
Yeah, it's phenomenal as an amp.
Yes, and it's built to extremely high standards internally. For example, audiophile-grade components, Nichicon electrolytic capacitors, WEMA Red Series audio capacitors, Alps Alpine motorized potentiometers, dual mono power supply, custom-built audio transformers inside that. It has VU meters.
Yes.
We love our VU meters.
We do.
There is a built-in DAC built around the AKM 4490 REQ DAC with AKM's Velvet Sound. Wonderful DAC for an internal included DAC. That said, I've been mostly using it with higher-end external DACs.
Right.
But it's nice to know that there's a DAC inside, and it's good. It is designed to drive any headphones over 6 ohms, dynamic headphones over 6 ohms. I used it with Susvara. Susvara Unveiled drives them beautifully. Used it with in-ears. Drives them beautifully. There are digital inputs. Like I said, there's a DAC, USB optical coax, analog inputs, stereo RCA balanced XLR, headphone outputs, 4-pin XLR, 6.35 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter balanced. Analog output, stereo RCA balanced XLR, because you can use it to pass through into your hi-fi system,
right?
Your loudspeaker system, and bypass the effects. Yeah, if you can't tell, and you know this already because you essentially live with me here at the office, I love this thing.
Right.
And I can understand completely why people were just going nuts about it at those 2 CanJams. It will be at CanJam again. And you absolutely cannot miss the Audma Maestro HPA1. I love this thing.
So, Jude, I think you know why I'm so excited about this, because this is an Audma amplifier that will finally fit on my small desk.
Yeah. I don't know who's more excited about it, you or me.
I am definitely excited, and I know you are as well.
I know.
So this is the Audma Brioso PHP A1. I'm just going to call it the Brioso because that's so much easier. Now, the Brioso is a portable DAC and headphone amplifier, but because it comes from Audma, that means it is also equipped with their ELIZA technology. Now, that stands for Electronic Loudspeaker Imaging Simulating Amplifier. Now, we'll talk more about that in a second here, but I also want to mention inside is the DAC. That's an AKM AK4499 EX EQ and AK4191 EQ DAC combo, and that's also paired with AKM's Velvet Sound. It supports PCM up to 32768 and DSD 256. Now, on the top, you have a number of controls here. So you have controls for turning on and off the ELIZA circuit, setting the stage, setting the angle. You also have bass adjustments. You have a digital input of USB Type-C, which is really nice. That's going to be for the DAC. And for the charging, there's 2 separate inputs there. Analog inputs, you have 3.5 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter. And for headphone outputs, you again have 3.5 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter. Now for power, this delivers a lot of juice. So per channel, at 32 ohms up to 2 watts, at 64 ohms up to 4 watts, and then at 150 ohms up to 2.7 watts. Again, that's per channel. It has multiple adjustable gain toggles, so you have 0, 8, 16, and 24 dB gains. And they say that it can be used with all dynamic headphones with an impedance of 6 ohms and above. Weight, it's only 240 grams, which makes it very pocketable, very portable for any kind of portable rig. Pair it with your phone, pair it with a laptop. Now, we don't know final price. This is still a pre-production unit, so it's not 100% finished, and the pricing has not yet been announced. But it is going to be at CanJam.
It is, and I am so excited about this one because their large desktop HPA1 Maestro amplifier is one of my reference amplifiers, like high reference amplifiers.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And the ELIZA circuit is so critically important to me, and to be able to take it with me now anywhere.
Yeah.
And it has all the capabilities in terms of the adjustments and everything else, plus the bass. So the adjustable bass boost, which is actually nice to also have on the go. That's a huge deal for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because the HPA1 Maestro is huge.
Gigantic, yeah.
That is not.
Yes.
So to me, the Brioso at CanJam is going to be a huge hit. I would not be surprised if there's a lineup to hear it.
I can almost guarantee there will be.
Make sure not to miss it.
Now, here at HeadFi HQ, it's not surprising that we would have used dongle DACs when they first became a thing many years ago.
No, we started experimenting right away.
Yeah, right away. And that was a long time ago.
It was.
Now dongle DACs back then, there were some good ones.
Yeah, and some that were not so good.
Yeah, definitely some not so good ones.
Yep.
But the good ones were good.
Yeah.
Anyway, we fell out of the dongle DAC scene for years. We kind of lost our excitement with the dongle DACs. And then Quest Dial brought us roaring back into the dongle DAC scene when they gave us a Questile M15.
Yep.
We hooked it up to our mobile phones, turned them into high-end DAPs. We plugged in our most sensitive in-ears, zero self noise, and an exceptional sound quality. We were thrilled. We were back in the dongle DAC game.
Yep.
So this is the Questile M18i, and they're just doing it again. They're getting us excited about dongle DACs again. This will be at CanJam. And the M18i uses dual ES9219Q DACs, so good DACs inside. Supports up to 32384. Not surprisingly from Questile, it has a very nice chassis. All their stuff has nice chassis.
Yeah, they have for years.
CNC anodized aluminum alloy. Also not surprising from Questile, current mode amplification.
Yep.
4 sets of SIP modules. I believe that stands for System and Package Modules, using Questile's current mode amplification. 4.4 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter outputs. Built-in microphone. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Fully laminated OLED display. It tells you pretty much everything you need to know.
It's a nice clear display, too.
It's actually a very nice clear display, yes.
Yeah.
3 modes with a switch that has 3 positions. PC mode allows for simultaneous charging and audio playback over USB.
Yeah, which is actually not something you'll find in every dongle DAC.
No, and another thing that's inherent in that very description is that it has a battery.
Yes.
So it has its own battery, something also not in every dongle DAC. So I love that you can charge it while listening in PC mode. Bluetooth mode, which is actually the mode I've been using most with it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Bluetooth 5.4.
Yeah.
AAC, SBC, aptX, aptX HD, aptX Adaptive, LDAC, LE Audio. I've been using LDAC with my Android phone. Phenomenal sound quality, and something I'm also very excited about. I've noticed this about a lot of later generation LDAC-enabled products. A pretty rock-solid connection.
Yeah.
In the earliest days of LDAC, it could be very touchy.
Yep.
Like, if I use it in this position, I get a good connection, and then with this one, it's rock-solid.
Yep.
I totally dig that. Mobile and phone mode. Does not draw power from the phone because, again, it has its own battery. Features noise reduction technology. Qualcomm's 8th generation clear voice capture. That's to do with the microphone.
Yeah.
So when you're using it with Bluetooth, with your phone, and a call comes in, or you want to make a call, you don't have to take off your high-end IEM or headphone, whatever you're using with it, because of the microphone. And it's actually a very nice microphone.
Yeah, it is.
And it works really well.
Yeah.
So
I can't tell you how many times I've been listening to music and a call comes in. If the microphone on the device I'm using is not good, I'm not going to use it.
yeah,
It has a clear, wonderful microphone.
it actually does. It is usable, and it's only $399.
Yeah.
So as dongle DACs go, it's a beautiful performer. I want to talk about the sound quality very quickly because I've used it with, again, very sensitive IEMs, my most sensitive IEMs, the kind that I'll put 90 dB at 4 millivolts, right? And no self noise. I've used it with several high-end over-ear headphones.
Yeah.
And just beautiful tonality. This is a wonderful dongle DAC. The Questile M18i is definitely something you don't want to miss at CanJam.
There are times I don't want to carry a portable digital audio player.
Sure.
I know you find that hard to believe because I'm almost always carrying a portable digital audio player.
Yeah, or 2.
True. Or 2. But there are sometimes I know you find it hard to believe that I don't want to carry one, especially when I'm carrying like a small sling bag instead of a backpack.
Yeah.
And when I do that, I just want to turn my phone into a portable digital audio player with something like this, like a dongle DAC. And this is the Campfire Audio Relay. This is a lovely little dongle DAC. It's a USB-C dongle DAC that uses the AKM AK4493 SEQ chip. It can decode PCM up to 32768 and DSD. And Campfire Audio says they selected it for its wonderful combination of technical ability and its special edge of analog warmth and tonality.
Yeah, that sounds very Campfire Audio to me.
It does sound very Campfire Audio.
Yeah.
They also use 2 ultra-low noise high-output drivers. So it has 2 gain settings. In low gain setting, from the unbalanced output, it'll drive up to 1.35 volts RMS. From balanced, up to 2.7 volts RMS. That's in low gain. And high gain, from unbalanced, up to 2 volts RMS. And from balanced, up to 4 volts RMS. There are 6 selectable filter modes, 60-step precision volume control, anodized aluminum body with a transparent window.
It is a nice design body.
I
like that.
dig that transparent window. It shows off the AKM AK4493 SEQ chip, which I think is neat. And I like the fact that the Campfire Audio logo glows when you plug it in. 3.5 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter outputs, supports Windows, Mac OS, Android, and iOS. The accessories are actually, I think they're kind of cool because
I like them.
Brian and I are both kind of like backpack nuts.
Yeah.
And we like the fabric that it uses. The little case has black cushioned ripstop.
Yes, I love ripstop.
Yeah, I like that too. And it comes with a 6-centimeter USB-C to USB-C cable and a microfiber cleaning cloth, which you sometimes need because that glass can be fingerprint prone.
It's going to get a lot.
And it's $229.
Yes.
So this, by the way, I used it, speaking of the 2 ultra-low noise high output drivers, I used it with one of my most sensitive IEMs, which is the Campfire Audio Clara.
Yeah.
Clara. It is quite sensitive. Plugged it in, it's essentially dead silent.
Yeah.
What I also like about this is some dongle DACs are more prone to cell phone radio noise.
Mm-hmm.
And with both of my phones, one an Android, one an iPhone, it's quiet.
Right.
Which is very important to me because then it gives me that illusion that my phone just turned into a high-end portable digital audio player when I do not want to carry one. And I love the fact that this gives me the option to not carry a portable digital audio player. At CanJam, this is a little dongle DAC that everybody there should audition.
At HIEM Munich 2025, Qobuz introduced Qobuz Connect, and now I finally had a chance to kind of get hands-on with Qobuz Connect, dive into it, really get to experience it, and I picked up on a couple of key improvements that I really think a lot of headfires will be interested in. So first of all, this is free for any Qobuz subscriber out there, and if you're not a subscriber, definitely check it out. They have a free trial to kind of get used to it a little bit. But Qobuz Connect, it's coming to a lot of products. It's already out for a number of DACs and streamers, and it's basically available as a software or firmware update for a lot of those products. Now, here in the office, I got to experience it through the DCS Lena network DAC. Now, one of the first improvements that I experienced from Qobuz is improved audio quality, and part of that is because of the way Qobuz Connect works. So instead of running from a Qobuz server to your device and then from your device straight to the DAC that way, this actually takes out the middleman. The computer's not involved. So it goes straight from Qobuz's servers to your device. So in our case, again, the DCS Lena DAC. Now, Qobuz says that it delivers bit-perfect audio, streaming up to 24-bit 192 kilohertz directly from the servers to your device. Again, it's on a number of devices already and still rolling out to more as well. Now, for me, what I really experienced was I wasn't getting any of the downsampling or compression that you get from wireless connectivity via Bluetooth or AirPlay, because again, I'm running straight from the servers through the Ethernet connection into the DCS Lena network DAC. I also found that it had a streamlined experience overall. So before, in order to run Qobuz through the DCS Lena network DAC, I had to use their Mosaic app, which, fully functional, definitely works well. But now I don't even need that as part of the equation. I can run everything from the Qobuz app directly. So I found that to be a bit more user-friendly. I found it to be faster as far as response times go. And I also found it a bit seamless for switching devices because, again, it's the same interface across everything that I'm using. And that also comes to something else that I noticed was cross-platform synchronization seems to be a lot better with Qobuz Connect. So you can control, for example, your mobile device from a desktop, and you can also control your desktop from that mobile device. Now, this isn't as much on the streaming side of things, but if you're running Qobuz locally to a USB DAC, say you're across the room and you have a 2-channel system set up with a little, home theater PC, you can now control that from your phone directly to the PC app into your speaker system. Very nice integration, great to have. And the best pro to me is that really it's free. So if you have a DAC or a streamer that you think might support or could eventually support Qobuz Connect, definitely check out the list of supported products on their website. That product list is growing pretty much daily at this point.
It is.
And like I said, with the DCS Lena network DAC, as soon as I saw that firmware update was out, I downloaded it, hooked it up, and I just went to town. I started listening to my favorite records and, music collections straight through I say records, but obviously I mean digital. And just kind of getting into my music library again, and it just really helped me kind of recapture that flame. It was great.
I agree. I think every one of the HeadFi team, I think we're all Qobuz users.
Yeah, I think we all are.
We all are. And so for Qobuz users, Qobuz Connect is a huge advance. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Now, I also do want to mention at CanJam, you will be able to pick up free trials for Qobuz. If you're not currently a subscriber, definitely stop by. Ask them about Qobuz Connect because they can go into even more detail about everything it does. I just wanted to talk about a few of the features that really stood out to me. But yeah, Qobuz Connect, definitely check it out at CanJam. So Jude, longtime CanJam goers are no strangers to Ferrum, and on the table right now, I have the Ferrum Wandala and the Ferrum Hypsos. Now, I brought them out because there was a firmware update for these that brought some really cool quality of life improvements, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But for anybody who's not currently familiar with this DAC, I do want to mention what the Wandala and Hypsos are. Now, the Wandala is a desktop DAC. It's a fully balanced DAC and preamp. It's based around the ESS ES9038 Pro DAC. It has 7 filter settings, digital and analog volume control. For inputs, you have USB-C, optical coaxial, HDMI ARC, I2S, and AES. For outputs, you have XLR and RCA, and here in the US, it runs you about $2,800. Now, beneath that is the Hypsos, and the Hypsos is a linear switching hybrid power supply, and Ferrum says that the benefits of that include low ripple and noise, as well as fast transient response and high efficiency.
So essentially, they're trying to give you the benefits of both types.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And it also features what they call sweet spot tuning. They say that enables the possibility to fine-tune the output voltage for the best sound. The voltage level can be safely adjusted on the fly to allow easy comparison testing, and here in the US, that'll run you about $1,200. Now again, a number of headfires have already experienced this system in the past, paired with a number of different amplifiers, but because of that firmware improvement, I think a lot of headfires want to check this out because, again, it's bringing quality of life improvements to the table. So firmware 2.0 was first shown at HIFIMAN Munich 2025, and it brings a number of things, including what they call Ferrum streaming control technology. I'll come back to that in a second. Improved volume control, improved user experience, support for more devices when connected via that I2S input, and you can also set input favorites. And best of all, it's free for any current Ferrum Wandala owners. Now, I want to talk about that Ferrum streaming control technology because to me, that's where the biggest quality of life that I experienced using this system comes into play. So what Ferrum says is, with our Ferrum streaming control technology, you'll be able to control your streaming music right from Wandala's touchscreen and its remote control. A quick look on Wandala's screen will tell you title and track information and give you the ability to play, pause, and skip your beloved songs. So what this does for you is it puts information that you would normally have to get from the computer screen on the front of your DAC. So for example, when I'm working on this preview video, I was putting together our show notes, and I was able to have the track information at my side. I didn't need to swap over to a different program to see what I was currently listening to, and that just really nice quality of life improvement in my opinion. It also receives currently playing data, so you get a track bar across the screen that'll show you how far through the track you are. You get current track name, you get track artist, you get streaming information about the file that you're playing back. It's really, really nice. And then Ferrum also says, Ferrum streaming control technology puts the control over your music right where it belongs on Wandala and its remote control. So I know a number of headfires have already seen this system before. If you haven't, or if it's been a while, definitely check it out. And if you have seen it recently, check out that new firmware because that's going to be bringing stuff to the table they've never seen. Hopefully you still have some fuel left in the tank because there are still more incredible audio electronics at CanJam Dallas that we haven't covered yet. Here's one you may not have heard before. Audio Engine will be introducing headfires to their new HXL portable balanced headphone dongle. Here's another. Bloom Audio will be showing Burson Audio's Conductor Voyager as well as the KN Soul. Headamp will have their family of desktop amplifiers, including the CFA3 and the Blue Hawaii Special Edition. MusicTeck will be showing two new flagship DAPs, Hibee's RS8 Mark II and the Shanling M8T. If you missed their compelling software at last year's CanJam Dallas, be sure to demo the Spectral Coherence Control Suite from Planet Venus Audio, and if you've never had the chance, stop by the T+A exhibit to experience the HA200 headphone amplifier. Well, you made it all the way to the end. Thank you so much for sticking with us. But before you mosey on, I want to remind you that CanJam Dallas 2025 is happening November 8th and 9th, 2025, at the Dallas Addison Marriott Quorum by the Galleria. Once again, this year's show is sponsored by Sennheiser and Technics, so thank you so much to Sennheiser and Technics. You both helped make CanJam Dallas possible. Now, we didn't have time to cover every single brand that's going to be at CanJam Dallas, nowhere near it, so scrolling on the screen right now is a list of all of the exhibitors and brands you'll find at CanJam Dallas this year. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to lasso up that like button and subscribe to the channel for more information, and we'll see you on the forums at headfi.org.